this is a very important subject, very important conversation, because this is going to clear up a lot of confusion. There is a difference between an elder versus an older. We respect, especially foundational Black Americans, we have much respect for our elders. Too often that the respect that we're supposed to have for our elders, that gets taken as we're supposed to have respect for everyone who's older than us. So anyone who's older than us, we're supposed to hold them to the same regard as we hold our elders to. That is not what we're supposed to do. So in this space, we're going to be distinguishing the difference between an elder and an older, because the elders we respect. We have elders who've set the foundation. We have elders who've laid the groundwork, who've done a lot of the work to lead us to the point where we are. They're the ones who set the stepping stones, and we're laying the foundation for the next generation. That's the way a community is supposed to work. The men and the women, they're supposed to let the set the stepping stones for the next generation, and then the next generation before that. They're supposed to set the foundation, the stepping stones, the path, whatever you want to call it, for the next generation, and if they have the ability to, for the previous generation or for the next generation after them, and the next generation after them. That's the way other societies do it. They put their kids into their will. They give their kids their life insurance policies. They give their kids their a term is slipping my mind, inheritance. And then after that, they pass it to their grandchildren. When they start a business, they don't just make the business for themselves. They make the business and then they write their kids into it. And if they have grandchildren before they pass away, they write their kids into their will. They write their kids into their business. So that is things that the older generation is supposed to do. That's your purpose, to set the next generation up to live better than you are, to have better resources, better opportunities, a better chance than you did. If you grew up, even if you grew up privileged, if you grew up a millionaire, you're supposed to be setting the stepping stones so your children can grow up multimillionaires and billionaires. Donald Trump's family is an example of that. Donald Trump used to brag about how his dad gave him a loan of $1 million. Now, he said it was a small loan, and as we know, $1 million is not really a small loan. But his dad was able to get him the loan of $1 million because his dad had money. He passed it on to Donald Trump Jr., Fred Trump, passed it on to Donald Trump. And then Donald Trump is able to lay the foundation for his children to come. Now, this isn't me big upping the Trump family. This is me saying that those are the ways it's done. You take $1 million from one generation, you invest that, you pass that down to the next generation. Now that's 2 million, 3 million, a multi-million dollars for the next generation. And then when they have children and they pass their $1 million down to the next generation, you have all of these other millions of dollars. You have it just like that. So that is what hold on. Don't tell me my Twitter is tripping right now. Okay, there we go. There we go. So that's what we're supposed to do. That's what we're supposed to do. We have an issue though, because the olders, and I'm specifically saying the olders, not the elders, the olders in our community, what they're doing is when they get the opportunity and when they have the chance to pass things down to the next generation, they blow it. They're self-centered. They don't want to pass things. Not only do they not want to pass things down, too oftentimes, we have the older generation. They're the ones who are out here hating and sabotaging on the younger generation. They're the ones who they had the opportunities, they had the government jobs back in the day. I know our brother Jason Black, the Black Authority, he speaks on this quite often. They had the opportunities right after the civil rights movement, when we had the progress, when we had the momentum. They decided to live it up. They decided to, that's like winning the lottery and then blowing the lottery money and not passing anything down to the next generation. That's exactly what they did. And we're being told that we need to follow them and we need to have respect for them. We often talk about the civil rights generation. Now, when it comes to the civil rights generation, there there is a nuance to it. Everybody in the civil rights generation wasn't one way. We shouldn't be speaking of the civil rights generation as an absolute. There were people in the civil rights generation who was fighting, killing, and dying for the sake of black people. Even when we speak on Dr. King and the things that Dr. King did, Dr. King, even before he had reached his true awakening, Dr. King was making major sacrifices. Even though he was on the no non-violence side of the fence, Dr. King was still making sacrifices. We had, if you look at the Montgomery bus boycott, which I feel like is a great feat that was handled incorrectly. I felt like the energy was misdirected, but the sacrifice of carpooling back in that day where not too many black people even had cars, going to work, walking to work for a whole year, that's a sacrifice that they were able to do. Now, like I said, that energy was misdirected because all of that energy should have went to black owned buses, not just white owned buses. That was that was the issue when it came to that particularly. But Dr. King, he was someone who sacrificed for the sake of black people. You had Malcolm, who was someone who sacrificed for the sake of black people. You had the Black Panthers, or many of them, not all of them, but you had the Black Panthers, who are people who sacrificed for the sake of black people. And then you have John Lewis, who's from the same generation as Dr. King, but John Lewis is not an elder. John Lewis is an older. He's just someone who's older than us. He's someone who does not deserve our respect and our reverence because of the acts he committed. You had a lot of the generations who was against Dr. King and Malcolm. People make it seem like everybody loved Malcolm and Dr. King back when they were alive. A lot of black people didn't like them speaking. A lot of black people were saying to them, "Oh, you're gonna make white people mad. We should just accept the fact that we ain't never gonna have that. We ain't never gonna have voting rights. We ain't never gonna be able to live over here, and we ain't never gonna be able to do this and do that." The same type of people who tell us that the government ain't never gonna give us reparations. We should even stop asking for it. Why you even want a handout? The government ain't gonna do it. We should do for ourselves. The same energy that we get when we talk about reparations and we get the pushback is the same energy that Malcolm and Dr. King and a lot of other people during that time when they were speaking on black empowerment, that's the same energy that they were getting from the people. So it's a mix of people when it comes to the civil rights generation, and that's something that we're going to discuss tonight. So with that being said, if anybody would like to come up and voice their opinion or ask a question, you can feel free to do so. I request that you guys share the space because I would like to get as many people's opinion as possible. I appreciate that very much. Um, Rich, you can go ahead.
I'm outside, so I'm not gonna be speaking much, but just pardon me. If you hear any noise, just please pardon that. Um, what I want to say about the topic is like last night is a clear indication that a lot of us are fucking silly. I can't wait till Black Alpha release that Twitter space from last night and put it on his YouTube, because as right now I'm just replaying what was said, what people said last night based on what I said when it comes to, branding, being conscious, and doing all that extra stuff. And I'm just replaying the responses that Negroes were saying in there, and that's some of the most stupidest shit I have heard in a very long time from people responding to that. And to tie it back to older folks versus younger folks, that's exactly what happened last night. That's that older folks energy where older folks want you to be conservative. They want you to not chase your dreams. They want you to not be ambitious. Why? Because they're broken and they want you to be broken too. That's that spirit that was in the air last night in that Twitter space. A bunch of broken motherfuckers who want you to be broken also. They have no more ambition, no more ambition, no more goals. They don't strive for anything. They're okay with a 9 to 5. They don't want to partner up with anybody. And now they want the young niggas, the niggas that got all the ambition, the niggas that got all the time on earth, the niggas that got 75 years left on this earth. They want them niggas to be just like them. I grew up around a lot of older folks. They all like this. Not all of them, but the broken ones, which is most of them, unfortunately. The broken ones, they always trying to break the young folks. Let me break the young niggas apart. This nigga got too much ambition. He's making me jealous. He needs to tone down that ambition. He needs to tone down that desire for more. And that's exactly what I was speaking about last night, the desire for more. How are you gonna tell the younger folks to do better, and you're not even showing them the benefits of doing better? If you show the young folks, hey, this is what you'll get if you're conscious. This is what you'll get. This is what you'll earn. This is the lifestyle you'll live if you become conscious. If you become black first, this is what you'll get. And you had niggas in there talking about, oh no, we need to stop doing that. We need to stop driving Ferraris. No, we need to. The ladies need to put on a damn skirt, a jean skirt, all the way down to their damn feet. That's what the ladies need to be dressed like. The niggas, we need to have on the 2001 size jeans with the Nikes and the football jerseys that's fucking 6X long. That's how they want us out here. That's how they want conscious folks looking out here. They don't want us looking good. They don't want us doing good. They want us buck broken, because that's a form of buck breaking. When you're trying to take somebody and break their ambition and break their spirit, that's a form of being buck broken. And that's a lot of what these older folks do. They try to buck break young niggas. And speaking about that, and I'm gonna wrap it up because there's a lot of noise behind me, but even in Kid Gravity space earlier, you had two mammies come up there talking about. One of them was like, "Oh yeah, Afro, you remind me of my son. You remind me of my son. Y'all the same way." That's not no compliment. What the fuck you telling me I remind you of your damn son? Like, stop with the mammy energy. Like, Afro's a grown ass fucking man. Don't be telling him you look like his son. That ain't no damn compliment. That's like a nigga saying, when a nigga tell you he reminds you of you remind him of his auntie, or you got that auntie energy, that is not a compliment. I'm sorry to say it is not a compliment, ladies. If a man tells you, if he calls you auntie, or he try to friend zone you before you friend zone him, nigga, it's bad time. And that's exactly what that lady tried to do in there. And then you had the other lady come in with that mommy energy. Oh yeah, I don't like that, and you know, y'all be doing that, and I don't understand what's the beat on it. Like, I don't give a damn how old you are. Just because you 40, don't that doesn't make you qualified to regulate things. Not over here. Just because you 50, you don't get to come in a rich place that Rich is co-hosting or Afro is co-hosting and come start making rules. What the fuck you think this is? I come from the streets. In the streets, you got to check paperwork. I've been checking paper. I do that. I've been doing that. I learned that from the streets. If somebody walks up to your neighborhood or walks up to your block, you got to check their paperwork. Go, wait, hold up, homie, who you? I see Ryan in here. He from California. They do that very well in California. You walk up to someone's block, you have to check their paperwork. I don't give a damn if you're 50, 60, 70, 80 years old. Paperwork got to be checked. And it's not no disrespectful thing. You just be like, yo, hey, you know, I live in this neighborhood for about 10 years. I never seen you before. Who are you? But you, just because you 50 or 40 years old, you're a quote unquote elder. You don't get to come just run up anywhere and tell people what to do. and they always do this too. They be like, yeah, I'm old enough to be your mommy, so this is what I got to say about the topic. Ma'am, I don't give a damn how old you are and how much times you gotta be my mommy or you could be my mommy. I don't give a damn, ma'am. Is your paperwork correct? I respect a 10-year-old the same way I respect a 50-year-old. If they both show me respect, I'm gonna give them respect. You don't just get to you don't just get respect because you're a certain age. What have you accomplished? Oh, I'm supposed to just give a homeless man respect because he's 50 years old? The nigga dusty as hell. I'm not gonna disrespect him, but I'm not just gonna give you respect off of GP. If that's the case, then let's just throw respect out the garbage. Let's throw that in the garbage. Let's the people who accomplish on earth, let's not give them respect. It's a higher hierarchy when it comes to respect. You don't just get to walk into any spot and just grab it. No, you got to put in real work for respect. In jail, you got to put in real work for your respect. You got to die behind that. You don't just get to walk up in places and just be like, "Oh, I'm this or I'm that or I'm this title." Politicians do that all the time. Oh, I'm a I'm a quote unquote politician, and
They coming for you, Rick.
yeah, they coming for me. That's the Coons. That's the Coons family. Go ahead, Afro.
Okay. I was agreeing with what you were saying. We had someone come up. It was a space I was hosting about no, it was about black crime, and the topic of reparations got brought up.
Afro, real quick. I just want to say this. That was the mammies in there. The 50-year-olds. They was in. I just seen them. Yeah, they in there. The 50-year-olds that be trying to play the mammy role that be coming in these Twitter spaces. But go ahead, Afro. My bad.
Okay. She came in and she was talking about how old. The first thing she said was how old she was. Then the next thing she said was how we need to leave the topic of reparations alone because she's old enough to know that the government isn't going to give us anything. And what we need to do is we need to, I guess, put our money together for, what did she say? Not a GoFundMe, a crowdfunding. We need to put our money together for a crowdfunding, and we should pay attention to what the older people have to say. And the issue with that is, and I have respect for people who have lived and survived this harsh system of white supremacy. I do have respect for that, but you being old doesn't give you the credential to speak on a certain topic, and damn sure doesn't make you an expert. So you can't come in a room full of people who are educated on the subject and then say, well, I'm older, so I know what I'm talking about. That's not how this works. I don't get to come in a room full of people and say, well, I'm older or I'm from this part, so I know what I'm talking about more than you know what you're talking about. Not based off of any accomplishments, because for all we know, you could have been a damn Democratic shield. You could have been a coon your entire life. And then next thing you know, you're trying to switch up and say, well, I'm old, so I know what I'm talking about. We have an issue with that. I don't mind the older generation, but the older generation needs to stop with the fact that, or the stop with the mentality of everybody just needs to shut up and listen to what I have to say because I'm older. Now, that would work if all of the older people were doing what the older people are supposed to be doing. If the older people were passing the game down to the next generation, then we should, for all intents and purposes, we should be listening to them. We should have respect for them. When they're speaking, we should be quiet and we should soak up the game, if that's what they were doing. But too many of the older generation is not doing that. To be honest, a lot of, and I said this earlier in the space for those who didn't hear it, a lot of the older generation, they're the ones who hate on the younger generation. You guys can think about the jobs that you've had, the young people in the room. We have a lot of young people in the room. We have a lot of even the older people in the room. When you were young, you can remember when you were at your first job, your second job, 9 times out of 10, the job snitch was an older black person. If you were working around black people, 9 times out of 10, the job snitch was an older black person, or that with your school. It's always the older person being extra hard on the black people. Now you don't see the older people being so hard on white folks. When if you was to go to a school where the principal was black, you don't see the black principal being super hard on the non-black children. But you see him being tough on the black children. And I'm not saying that all black principals are bad. I don't want anybody taking my words out of context. But the older generation that's waving their finger at black people, the older generation that's reprimanding black people, telling black people we need to pull ourselves up by our bootstraps, and it was hard for them, and it's not that hard for us. When they get on not a broadcast, when they get on a platform and they say, oh, well, racism isn't as bad as it used to be. And then when you ask them, okay, well, what happened in your day that doesn't happen today? They can't say anything. They can't say one single thing that happened in their day when racism was so bad that doesn't happen today, to this very day. They can't tell you one single thing. You have black people being lynched, literally hung from trees in a modern era. So there's not a single thing that happens back in the day that doesn't happen today. But let these older generations tell you, oh, it was hard for them, so they need to listen. So we need to listen to them because we're privileged, because we don't understand what a real struggle is. They are the ones who had to really struggle. Gas around here is close to $6 a gallon. When they were driving cars, gas was like a dollar or something, if that. You know, the price of living is higher than it's ever been. It's harder for us to get a house than it was for them to get a house. It's harder for us to get an education than it was for them. And our education does less for us now than it did for them back in the day. So it's a lot harder in many respects today than it was the previous generation. And they don't have any respect for that. They're out here waving their fingers at black people. They're out here telling black people what we should or shouldn't do. And that's why a lot of the younger generation doesn't respect a lot of the older generation. And I'm not going to say that everybody who's older is on that level or has that mindset. I'm not going to, paint all older people with a broad brush, but I'm stating the issue as to why the younger generation doesn't have respect and distance themselves from the older generation. I have a lot of people come up here who are a part of the older generation, and they say, well, I'm trying to educate the young kids and they just don't be listening. All they want to listen to is rap music, and all they want to do is play on their games on their phones and do drugs and all this stuff, and they don't want to listen to a real gangster. Well, okay. The thing is that to them, you're not a real gangster, and I'm using the word gangster loosely. To them, you're not somebody who really makes moves. You're not a real accomplished person, because you wouldn't have to brag about that if you were. If you were a person, if you were somebody people respected, people will naturally try to gravitate to you. People will naturally try to be more like you. People will naturally try to imitate you. But no, you have the older generation who acts like they get to father or mother everybody from the younger generation, and they deserve parental respect from the younger generation just because they were born before them. And we can't have that anymore. We can respect our elders, the elders who put forth the foundation, who made the sacrifices, who opened the doorway for us to accomplish what we have and make the achievements that we did. We can have respect for them all the time. If Neely Fuller came here and he was talking, I would not say anything. I wouldn't interrupt him at all. If you have other elders who put forth the foundation, who put forth the work, other activists, if Huey Newton was alive, if Fred Hampton was alive, and they wanted to say something, I would listen to them because I have respect for them. You can have, and even today, Neely Fuller Jr., he's still alive today. Dr. John Henrik Clarke, he's still alive today. Dr. Claude Anderson, he's still alive today. You still have people from the older generation, our living legends, so to speak. You still have them alive today. You know, the black men and the black women too. Shahrazad Ali, she's still alive today. You still have people who are from that generation who are still alive today and who are still putting in work today for the next generation and the generation after that. So we can have respect. And that's one of the things that I wanted to talk about when it comes in this space, when it comes to this conversation, because we don't know really where to draw the line between the olders and the elders. Too often I'm in spaces where you just paint them all with a broad brush. that lady that came in, and I'm gonna let Tim speak shortly after this. That lady that came in, we had a couple people message me. Oh, I don't like when you say these old niggas. That's just disrespectful. You got to have more respect for our ancestors than that, or not ancestors. You have to have more respect for our elders than that. We don't disrespect our elders like that. Well, no, well, we don't. We don't. But that's not an elder. That's an older. Anybody who's coming in, and you got the younger generation breaking their neck to push forward for reparations, and you got an older generation coming in trying to be the naysayer of reparations, they don't deserve respect in my book. They're not gonna get the respect of somebody who's been actually putting forth work for our generation. So we have to have that conversation so we can clear things up, so we can educate ourselves on how to handle certain folks. With that being said, Tim, you can go ahead.
Hey, thank you, Afro, for letting me speak. Peace to the hosts, co-hosts, everybody who made it to the space. Just wanted to add my 2 cents into this conversation on elders and olders. I was gonna lead off with Jason Black's famous, you gotta watch out for them old niggas, but we already know that by now. In that previous space that we were in, Rich did called out a couple important things there about what a few people said. As that lady that actually compared you to her son, that's like her second time. I think that's the second time I've been in this space with you where she's done it, when she's actually
Yeah,
made.
she keeps doing that. She
Yeah, she made.
keeps doing that. I don't
Ain't
know
that
why
ain't
she
that
keeps
weird?
doing that.
Ain't that shit weird, man? That shit is weird. And
Sometimes you can't let people talk. Sometimes you gotta cut people off and be done with letting them talk because they're gonna mess up your space running their mouth like that, saying the same nonsensical stuff. But I'll let you finish. But if I were you, I wouldn't let her keep talking.
I was just too busy to interrupt at the time.
Afro, next time you know what you need to say? You remind me of my side chick.
and as wow, but I hope everybody, but it was actually cool that everybody actually heard that, because this is I think this is my second space actually hearing that, and I think I think it's important to actually bring it back up again, because she made the weird thing is she made this comparison using her son. She's saying her son isn't, she used the comparison saying her son isn't any good. And you remind me of my son, Afro. And she just went into her little spill of, insanity and really that feminazi talk. To be honest, that feminine talk, as Professor Black Truth would say. Um, but just getting back into examples of elders and olders, we have like again, Afro, you made a good point about on the job where you would have a lot of people. It's always usually I can remember plenty of jobs I've had. It's always been that old mammy who she's she don't see racism, just the church and pitting down the black men on the job and different things like that. I actually worked with an Indian woman like that, where she kind of bigged up all the Africans there, and all the FBAs were like treated like really bad, and the Africans were getting hired, whereas all the FBAs, we were actually teaching everybody all the different stuff. Like me mainly, I was like kind of teaching everybody everything, and then towards the end, I didn't get hired on my specific job, but that's one example. And then with like another example, just going with the politics route, we could look at like people like John Lewis, who didn't have any successes that I know about. I think Rich can probably speak on this up in New York. Charlie Rangel. I think I think that didn't AOC take her spot, Rich? I'm not sure. I'll let you. I guess you could speak on that when you take the mic. And a couple other people, even Elijah Cummings here in Maryland. Nobody here to take his spot. So they're not actually training their replacements, or doing, getting other young, grooming other young black people to take their places. They're kind of holding on to these spots for as long as they can. Look at Maxine Waters, and who's another old one that they had. Like you had like people like what's that? It's like a difference from the black side to the white side. If you look at people like Strom Thurmond, who stayed in there, I think he was like 80 or 100 years old. I'm saying we're all living under the people who he groomed. Biden, goddamn Mitch McConnell, and a whole bunch of other Dixiecrats there that that have taken his thing and moved forward with stuff. But as far as black people, they don't want to teach. Jesse Jackson Jr. If you look at how he turned out. But I'll end it right there, and I'll come back in later if I can.
Yeah, thank you very much for that. Sunkiss, can you raise your hand? I'm not sure if you know how, but there's a heart button at the bottom of your screen. You press that, and then you can hold the hand button, change the color of your hand. You can raise your hand. I just want to keep order. If anybody else wants to come and add their 2 cents, ask a question or anything, you can feel free to do so. But Rich, you can go ahead.
Speaking about that woman that's always saying that Afro reminds her of her son, she always sounds extra tired. Like I don't know. Always sound tired.
High, like she high.
Yeah, she be like, "Hey, Tariq. Yeah, I just wanted to say about the topic." She always sounds tired and high, and I don't know. I don't know if it's me because I always, and she has no default picture, no default picture. Like I don't understand. She always sounds tired and just out of it. But that's just me. I don't know. Maybe I'm tripping.
She does, and she.
Because I noticed that maybe a month ago, and God bless her heart, she seems like a sweetheart. But yeah, I noticed that too. But you never know what somebody's going through, so I closed my mouth. But yeah, that was funny.
My issue is she. A lot of people do this to me. A lot of people do this to me, and I don't say anything most of the time because at this point I'm kind of used to it. But a lot of people come at me with compliments in the beginning. Afro, you remind me of my son. Afro, you are so wise. You are so smart and respectful. But my issue is they always follow it up with something else. They always follow it up with a problem. Notice how every time she says something nice about me, she always follows it up with something negative. That happens to me all of the time. Somebody says something nice about me. You know what, Afro? That was really great what you said. But if you could only just stop doing this, or if you could only start doing this, I would. And family, I don't mind criticism. I'm not a perfect person. I don't feel like I'm above reproach. I don't feel like I'm above people questioning me. I'm not better than anybody here. But that happens to me all of the time. And this isn't her first time that. Oh, you're in. This isn't really a lot of older people do that to me too. Oh, you're such a wise young man. I can see a lot going for you. You just got to stop doing this. You just got to start doing this. I'm okay. Okay. A lot of people try to do that. People try to do that with me when it comes to other people too. A lot of people been buttering me up when it comes to Tariq for some reason. They been all like, Afro, you're so wise, you're fair, Afro, just like that King James dude. You're fair, Afro, and everything. But it's just Tariq, and he has a white wife, and he has this and this and this. And I'm like, okay, you're giving me compliments because you want me to side with you as you like sway me to another direction, or you want me to co-sign you dissing somebody else. If you're gonna diss somebody, do it to their face. But a lot of people do that to me, and I find it very weird. And she
Yeah,
does that often.
they
And
don't
another
fall for it.
thing, I won't. I see that coming. Another thing I don't like when parents publicly diss their kids. I find that very distasteful. I don't like that. I don't like when mothers being of mothers or fathers coming up on a platform, a public platform, and be like, "Hey, yeah, my son ain't shit." Like, ma'am, whose fault is that then? For whatever reason your son is messed up, or for whatever reason your daughter is messed up, you're the one who's responsible of making sure your kids turn out right. Now I understand there's other factors in there, but that's your responsibility. You shouldn't be bragging. If anything, you should be ashamed of the fact that your daughter or your son didn't turn out right. You shouldn't be out here, yeah, my son he's just wild, he's just out of control. Well, he's out of control because his mother didn't do her job right, or his father didn't do his job right, or her father or her mother didn't do their job right. I don't like that. Yeah, my son. Yeah, my son just don't understand. My son just does this. I can see if y'all like, yeah, how can I teach this to my son, or I'm trying to teach my son this, or asking for advice. But I don't like when people get on a platform and diss their kids at all. I do not like that. I find that very distasteful. That's very disrespectful. No wonder you and your child doesn't have a good connection. Sun Kiss, Sun, the guy with the red hoodie on. You can go ahead and speak.
Can you hear me?
Yeah.
This is my opinion, and I'm going to say this to a lot of people, and it's for any older person or a black person. When we talk about reparations, we only put it in monetary form. We never say we should be doing this for the people who were enslaved, your ancestors. We never mention them. I don't ever go into no forum and I hear that. All I hear, well, I want reparations. For what?
What are we
You
talking
never.
Okay, hold on. Let me ask
No,
you
we
a
never.
question.
Hold on, let him
let me-
finish, y'all. Please let him finish.
We
Hold on.
never. I never go into no forums or hear nobody. There's only a few people I would hear would say, "I'm doing this for them."
You go.
We
Okay,
don't. We don't. We'll talk about everything under the sun, young people, old people. You know what? Don King said one thing. He said one thing right. I may have $1 million, but that just makes me $1 million nigga. And see, what problem I see with a lot of black people, we can talk all this. And I hear people on these forums, well, Nazis, Democrats. You know what? Twitter is owned by white progressives. Facebook is white progressives. You're not on a conservative site. They don't want you. Lindsey Graham doesn't want you. Tim Scott don't want you. You got some white progressives right now listening to this saying these folks is on our site. And Democrat, and we just jump on issues. We didn't care about Roe versus Wade last year, but now we all concerned about it. We only talk about reparations. We don't talk. I'm going to concede the mic in a second. We never talk about an overall black agenda like white people got with the New Deal.
Can y'all hear this guy, or is it just me?
Yeah, I can hear him.
Old nigga.
Okay, I'm gonna let you land, and I have a couple questions for you. You can unmute yourself.
No, but nobody wants to call. You can call me the old nigga what you want, but you know what? I got mine. I'm protected by the New Deal. I got the New Deal. I'm not some young Negro running my mouth on and don't got nothing to show for it.
Let's relax.
What you had to show for all this activism?
Okay, let's take a breath. Let's take a breath. Let's relax. Now let me ask you, if you feel like what we're doing is wrong, what should we be doing, and what have you done to show through your actions that we should be doing? Because the issue that we have with the older generation is because they want to preach about what the younger generation should do. And I've been saying this for a while. Anybody can preach. It takes a lot of work and effort to lead through actions, to take the initiative to go out and do something, and then show your work and say that this is the example of what we should be doing. The older generation, and I'm not saying this for every older person, they come on to a platform, whether it's Twitter, whether it's YouTube, whatever the case may be, they get onto platforms and they talk about, oh, we shouldn't be doing this. We shouldn't be doing this. We shouldn't be doing this. But they haven't set an example of what we should be doing. What we should be doing is what? By your example, what have you done to have the right to come here and criticize what we're doing now? What if what we're doing is wrong? Show me where something else works. What have you done that's worked, sir? You can unmute yourself.
I'm going to tell you this. This is like I tell a lot of young black people. No. One dude, I would tell you.
Okay, see, and this is This is an issue I have when it comes to spaces too often. I am the host. This is my space. When I ask you a question, I've let you come up here and speak. And when I ask you a question, you answer the question. You don't tell me, no, we're not peers in this space. So answer the question, sir, or else I'll just consider you a troll and remove you. But I'm giving you the chance to be respectful and answer your question, or answer my question, I mean. So you can answer the question, what have you done to where we should be listening to what you have to say and be following your direction? You can unmute yourself.
One, how many black people have I given contracts to through my job? How many black people, neighborhoods I've helped build over the years, which are black people? One thing about, I look at older people, I'm from the Midwest. How many black folks know what a prevailing wage job is? You guys probably don't even know what that is. What will lift black people out of poverty? Most black kids right now in this room don't know what if you're in South Carolina, in the South, you don't have those, where you'll get a $50 an hour job. I make sure we get those, that we're in these positions.
Okay. Don't you feel like, with that being said, don't you feel like reparations would be, because you came here and you started speaking negatively on reparations.
I'm not speaking.
Don't you feel like reparations would be helpful with whatever you do? Don't you feel like you'd be able to do it better with reparations?
This is my opinion. Inform of what reparations are you going to talk?
Cash payment.
A straight cash payment of what? Let's say if you took $11 trillion. Split that around 4 million black people. That's $350,000. That doesn't buy you a single family home in most cities in America. You realize that? Most black people don't realize that. It has to be a multi-step approach. And it's going to take more than one generation. It's going to take more than $11 trillion. Look at the price of the New Deal. They're still living off the New Deal, and it came in 1937. They're still living off. They're still living off the Homestead Act.
Okay, sir.
And nobody looks at that. You don't want to look because you don't know these things. You guys don't.
Do you see how angry he's getting? Do you see how calm, and collected I am? I'm just asking the question, and this dude is speaking, and he's getting more angry as he's speaking. Nobody's interrupting him. Nobody's laughing at him. And the more he speaks, the angrier he gets. And this isn't my first time dealing with this dude, and I'm trying to be respectful because you did this last time in this space. Yeah, you're getting angry for no reason, sir. I don't know how many neighborhoods you built. I've never heard of you before. And no, you haven't stated what you do, your occupation, but just taking your word for it that you've given millions of black people contracts and you've made multi-millionaires off of what you do that nobody knows of, just taking your word for it. I said, don't you think that would be easier once black people get reparations? Okay, you said, well, reparations, we would need more than just cash payment. Okay, then why hate on the cash payment, though? You guys have no reason to hate on the cash payment, to disagree with the cash payment reparations. There's no reason to do that. All these other groups of people are out here getting tangible cash. You got Hispanics, Asians, the white LGBT. All of these other groups are getting reparations, except black people. And we have naysayers, just like I was saying earlier in the space. You have naysayers that hate on reparations, hate on the progression of young people. You came out here. Notice how he spoke to black people. This is when it came to the olders in their generation. They don't come to black people like, hey, y'all, I've been doing this for a while. I think I can put you on game. You guys should follow me or watch this video or let me help you out when it comes to this contract because I make good business contracts. You didn't come up here on respect. You came up here, oh, I bet y'all don't even know what this is. You came
because
up here.
Because you don't have it. Yeah,
man. Okay, sir. Can you calm? Oh, yeah, actually, sir, that's enough from you. That's just enough from you. Notice how he came up here He came up here. He didn't try to say anything positive. He didn't say, hey, guys, I have this good business idea. And this is the issue that we have with the older generation. He didn't come up here with grace and trying to help and pass knowledge and game down to the younger generation. He came up here talking down, talking condescending to us as we're trying to make progress. And that's the reason why we don't respect them, respect a lot of them, not all of them, but that's the reason why we don't respect a lot of them. Nobody knows where this dude is from. Apparently this dude, let him tell it, is like a multi-millionaire who makes contracts for black people. This dude is like rich as hell, and he's built black neighborhoods. Can't state what black neighborhoods he's built, but he's built black neighborhoods all throughout the country. He's made rich black people all throughout the country, and we need to stop giving up on we need to give up on reparations for a reason that he can't really specify. See, this person was a perfect example of the elders, not the olders. I mean, the olders, not the elders. My fault. I switched that up.
Wait a minute. Hey, hold up, Afro, before you move on to your next hands. I gotta play this. Hold on real quick.
Okay. Thank you for that. Okay, that was our comic relief right here. Ryan, you can go ahead. We'll go with Ryan, and then we'll go with Demeric. Damn, and then Nate. Nate, can you put your hand up, please?
Oh my God! Thank God he came in. That was hilarious. But no, I was gonna get back on top when Tim was talking about like having them older females that just be hating on the younger group. Back when I was in high school, only like 2 or 3 years ago, I had this coach Doug, and I mean, this was the most on code B1 FBA brother you could ever have. He let all us young brothers know like code was, how it was up in the city. He always was watching out for us, and we had this counselor lady, Dr. Jackson, that was always trying to get us in trouble for the weirdest things, like just always had us in our office, always had like just a young black men always up in our office, freshman through senior year. It was crazy. I've heard about her. It's bad. And he would always just be there. He would kind of look out for us, kind of get us out of trouble and stuff. And that's just what I talk about when I think of elder versus older, because he was always looking out. He was always gaming us up. He was always letting us know, hey, you can't be doing this at school. Hey, if you go and shoot dice at school, just wait till after school. Don't shoot dice in the hallways, little things like that. And he would always be watching out for us. So that's what really separates older from elder for me. And like, that's just how I look at it. But that's all I got to say.
Exactly. That's a perfect example. You have somebody, both those two people, pretty much the same age bracket, around the same age. One person is an older and one person is an elder. That's a great example. Nate, you can go ahead and unmute yourself. And if anybody else wants to come in and speak on the subject, you can feel free to do so.
Hey, thanks for letting me speak. And I wanted to talk to the older brother that you were just talking to and talking about. The question is perfectly simple. How are reparations hurtful? You know what I'm saying? Why are you combating reparations? And that's all I got. I wanted to talk to that brother, but I appreciate you letting me speak.
One of the reasons, and thank you for that, because when you ask what is wrong, if you honest to God feel like reparations won't do anything to help, let's just say that reparations won't do anything to help, why hate on it though? What will it hurt for us to get reparations? When I asked them, okay, well, don't you think reparations will help? No matter what you do, whatever you're doing, I guess you're just so successful or whatnot. Wouldn't reparations make your job easier or make it easier for your clients to do whatever they're doing? He said contracts, couldn't specify what contracts they're for, didn't specify. I still don't know at all what he does. He doesn't have like his business on his profile or anything. So I don't know at all what this person does, but let's tell you, he don't know where though. But why hate? All of the naysayers of reparations, what is it hurting for us to get money? Because you don't have the older generation of Hispanics talking about how the young Hispanics shouldn't get any money. the older generations of Asians should talking about how the younger generations of Asians shouldn't get any money. You don't have the older generations of these other ethnic groups talking and condescending to the progression of the younger ethnic groups. But you have too often that when it comes to black people. This dude came up here and he tried to I forgot exactly what word he used, but he tried to say, I'm pretty sure you guys don't even know about some type of contract, talking condescending to us. If he knew something that we didn't, and I let him on here and I was being respectful, he could have educated us. There's things that I don't know that sometimes the speakers come up here and they tell me, and then I have to learn that way. And that's fine. And that's what the older generation is supposed to do. If you know something, a way to get credit or a way to get a house or anything like that, you're supposed to come humbly and educate the younger generation so they don't have to learn the hard way. But you don't come to them and you don't wave their finger, or you don't come to them with a big head and act like you're so much smarter than everybody else, because nobody's going to listen to you. And I doubt that that dude knew anything more than anybody in this stage right now. With that being said, if anybody wants to speak any further, can you please raise your hand? We went Tim, I saw your hand up, then Rich. You can go ahead.
To say real quick, I was just wondering, why did he actually lead? He actually led off his conversation talking about cash payments. He was saying he said that we're not talking about the ancestors and cash payments. He was basically saying cash payments were bad. If you really listen to what he was saying, that's all I wanted to ask him. You know, like why would he consider cash payments being bad when everybody else is getting cash payments and doing? You know, we still have people today receiving. You know, and then we have a lot of these illegals here. They're getting cash payments monthly. You know, they're not complaining about it. But when it comes to black people, it always has to be some weird thing. And I hate, he's also one of these black people who's speaking in terms of reparation as being a one time. You know, he used that $1 trillion. You know, he used that famous talking point they always use. They'll throw out a $1 trillion figure, then they'll break it down into maybe like 500,000 to 300,000 that every black person will get, and then they'll just say that's it. You know, not realizing that reparations will be a generational thing. And that's all I wanted to say.
And thank you for that. And even if, let's say it's only $300,000. Let's say it's only that and we don't get a cent more than that. Why is that something you want to hate on? I mean, would it hurt for us to get that money? Even if it wasn't enough, let's say that. Let's say for whatever reason he had an issue with it. Why is it something? Of course it's going to help. It's going to help to some degree. 300,000. I'm pretty sure if I gave 300,000 to any one of you guys, and then now you guys will find a million different things you can do with that money. $300,000 is a lot of money. Rich, you can go ahead.
So all the young folks that's listening, make sure you get your life together, or you're gonna be that old nigga in 50 years. So don't come in here and say, that ain't gonna be me, bro. Yes, it is gonna be you, nigga, if you don't get your life together. Get your life together so you don't have to be him. If that nigga with life was together, do you think he'll be angry like that? The nigga, because his life is fucked up.
He said he was a multimillionaire.
What multimillionaire you know on Twitter Spaces at 7 o'clock in the morning, 7 o'clock at night, my nigga, talking to young niggas? That nigga should be in. If he's a multimillionaire, that nigga should be in the crib right now. He got a chef cooking dinner for him. He's chilling right now. That's what he should be doing. He shouldn't be in here with us. Ain't no money over here. So to my young dudes, get yourself together so you don't have to be him in 50 years. Think about it, family. These older folks, they had twice as much time as us to get their life together, and they still didn't get it together yet. That nigga about, what, 50, 55. I'll say. He's like real fat. I went on his Twitter page. Like a big face. He about 50, 55. He's had 30 years to right his wrongs. Because I say your life begins, in my opinion, your life begins 25. The first 25 years of your life, you just strolling past. Once you hit 25, that's when your life really starts. So if he's 50, 55, he had about 30 years to get his shit together, get his credit together, get his finances together, get his looks together, because that nigga fat as hell. Get his voice together. The nigga be yelling a lot. And he hasn't done that yet. So, Ryan, I see you in here. You're 20 years old. Get your life together. That's prime example. If you didn't as to why you should get your life together, that should be a motivation right there. So you don't be 50 and miserable. Now land right there.
That's what we call a corner store bum. A corner store bum.
Before we get to Spartan, I want to say, do you see the way I handle people and why I handle people that way? A lot of people criticize my patience. A lot of people like, well, Afro, I would have kicked him off the first time he started. Like, no, I'm gonna let him speak. I'm gonna let him hang himself, and this is what I do all the time. And I've mastered this technique. I let him speak long enough for everybody to see, okay, this dude doesn't know what he's talking about. This dude is just kind of spazzing out. He hasn't taken his medication yet, and he's got his grandson's phone, and he made a Twitter account, and now he's on here trying to reprimand younger people for living a better life than he has. And I let him talk long enough, because if I cut him off too short, people will be all like, Afro doesn't let people speak because he's an FBI agent and he doesn't want real black people asking him questions, like that person in the other space. Yeah, you cut him off, FBI agent, man. That's proof you work for the CIA. You don't want people asking you questions and exposing you. I'm like, okay, all right, dude. But I let him talk. And this dude claimed that he's like a business contractor. He's a multimillionaire building black neighborhoods. Do you see the anger? I don't know a multimillionaire with anger issues like that. We're all here calm and respectful. And this dude is getting angrier as he speaks, like he's the Hulk or something. The more he's talking, the angrier he gets, the louder he's raising his voice. And I had to mute him multiple times. Dude, can you relax? I don't know what about this room triggered. Well, I do now, but this room clearly triggered that man. But we're supposed to be taking his advice. Spartan, you can go ahead.
Right before Spartan goes, let me just say this real quick. He is actually a businessman, actually, because I'm looking at his profile right now. He's in the business of eating, but technically that is still a business. You know, that is still a business. He's in the business of eating. So Afro, I'm not a business. It burns your pockets because nigga eating Pizza Hut and Domino's all day, but that is a business.
Well, when it comes to that business, I'm sure there's things that he can educate everybody in this room on, because I don't see anybody here who's obese or overweight like that. So when it comes to eating, he could probably put everybody on to something new. But Spartan, you can go ahead. And if you want to speak, you can raise your hand. If you don't know how to do that, there's a heart on your screen. You just press that, and then there's the hand emoji, and you press that.
What's up, everybody? Afro Rich. Again, as I said, tapping in y'all spaces lately has been real dope. As far as like the older, really just wanted to pose like a counter argument, really. So when I love listening to you guys. So, you know, usually when I kind of have to have a conversation, if I really believe in something, I'll also come up with a counter argument to it, right? It's kind of my work, right? So if I like really believe in what you're saying, I also want to consider the argumentative point. So trust me, I believe in everything we're saying, but, you know, I'm still going to consider the argumentative point, because some things he said, you know, 300,000. Yeah, it'll be nice. It'll definitely all change. It'll change our lives, right? But if we're thinking bigger pictures, are we going to look down 20 years, generations from now, and then like, damn, that 30,000 was our reparations? So that's where I'm kind of coming with it. It just kind of posing a different point. Like, you know, maybe something could have been bigger. It's institutional reparations. We got towns that are sovereign, we have land, you know what I'm saying, things like that was actually going to make a generational wealth, because I'm sure we all talked about it, right? We have those talks. Like, yo, if we got $500,000, what are we gonna do with it? You know what I'm saying? So, like, that's the vantage point I'm coming from. Kind of like just want to keep the conversations going as far as posing a different vantage point, because that's a real thing. Even the spaces I hear you, not everyone has this mindset. Right? There's going to be spaces for the bosses, right? But we need workers. We need to make sure. There was just that kid in the room last night talking about what's on code, right? So then we have to gather that other, the bosses are what, the 5%, the 10%, they're still 90%. And although we don't agree with them, we do have to rally them. So that's where the vantage point I was coming from.
Well, to address what you said, reparations is more than a cash payment, a single cash payment. We is a Black Marshall Plan, and I'm looking for that because TBA, the Jason Black, if you guys don't know who that is, you guys definitely need to check him out. He made a forum of that, and I posted it on Twitter. I'm just having to scroll through and find it, and then I'm gonna put that in the jumbotron for later on so people can look at it. But we need a whole Marshall Plan the same way that they did with the Japanese after they bombed the Japanese, Hiroshima and Nagasaki. I hope I'm pronouncing that right. I'm talking for that right now. But we can talk about things we can do after we get reparations. I don't have an issue when it comes to us talking about what we should do and making plans about how we should spend our reparations to make sure it's the most lucrative way. We shouldn't have a problem with that. What I take issue with is when people ask that question in bad faith. People ask that question only for the purpose of saying that we shouldn't get it. They're asking that question because they want to come in with an angle of, you see, reparations. So let's not even try to get it. So that's what I take issue.
Yeah, no, I respect that. So I was just trying, like, I definitely agree there. So I was just trying to further the conversation, like, keep going with
No, I
it.
get you.
Yeah,
I get you.
but
I'm
I
not on
totally
that with
agree
you.
with you, bro. I agree.
Yeah, I understand what you're talking about. And like I said, we should be able to ask questions, and we should be able to be respectful when it comes to answering questions. If the questions are asked in good faith, if people ask a question, because people ask questions all the time, we take into account that we have new people coming in who aren't as knowledgeable on these subjects as we are. So they might ask questions, and it might be frustrating answering the same question. It might be frustrating having a conversation with somebody who doesn't know as much as you. Trust me, I understand that. But we can answer the question if the question is asked in good faith. If people are asking the question because they genuinely want to know the answer to it, they genuinely want to know the solution. But too often when people ask questions about reparations, they take issue with reparations. They take issue with us trying to get cash payment reparations, or us being exclusive with our reparations as far as it being only for the descendants of American slaves, the foundational Black Americans. So they take issue with that. So they're asking a lot of bad faith questions. And that's why we, knock that down as soon as we pick up on it. But I just found it, and I put it in a jumbotron, so you can download that or screenshot that, and then you can review that when you have the time. You can go ahead. Silver, yeah, go ahead.
Hey guys, I just want to say thank you for bringing my little white butt up on the stage. Not really a question. I just wanted to say all praise to the Most High. I see a lot of brothers and sisters in here of color, and I understand that I myself, being white-skinned, it is a really tough time and situation as far as awareness goes. And I just want to say that I myself stand with you guys, and it's love. Keep grinding on your own self. Keep working on your own self. Keep chasing that fire within you, and whether it's Jesus or whoever you believe as the universal power, stay focused, stay positive, and like he said, there's going to be people, no matter rich or poor, black or white, that are always going to be going through their own life and shit that they sometimes don't understand and actually emit that negative energy out onto others. and that's something to be aware of and look out for, so that you don't absorb that energy and let it ruin your day. But I love you guys, and let's keep rocking. Woo!
Okay. Well, appreciate the positivity.
I see Butch has her hand raised, Afro and Rich. I see Butch.
Yeah, I wanted to get to her too. Now we're gonna have some groups of people like Afro let a white person speak into space. He's an agent. That was his FBI boss. He was coming into space to congratulate him on the promotion. So, okay. Icy bitch, you can go ahead.
Did you just mispronounce my name?
Oh, my fault. I mean, you don't. I see. Birch. Okay, go ahead. Butch, get you.
Butch,
Got you.
as in someone who's butch.
Got you. Okay.
So the whole thing about asking questions and being able to challenge different points of view, I actually very much agree with that, because I ain't gonna lie to you, a lot of these spaces I come into kind of come at me, or people, maybe not everyone who fits neatly into what you would expect someone that come into the space and fit neatly into, with a lot of hostility, which I don't think is very productive for Black people overall. I've had a lot of disrespect myself. But I am interested in these type of topics. Obviously, it is hard for me to talk about Black issues because it's fucking traumatizing. Being Black in general is traumatizing. So sometimes I don't have the mental capacity to do it, but I still want to. Like what Spartan said earlier, that's kind of my sentiment too. Like, I do think, like, when it comes to reparations, we have to kind of be able to have a plan after that. Because, for example, right now, like, when it comes to, like, I'm from the hood, and I've seen throughout my, like, almost 30 years of there not being any community building, right? Like, community building is kind of one of the most important things for Black people.
I see. Are you there?
Oh, yeah.
Could I ask you a question, Icy?
Yeah.
Are you from the United States?
Why you ask that?
Huh?
Why do you ask that?
It's just a question. I mean, we have Twitter Spaces. We ask, the speakers questions. Just a question.
Well, it has to be a reason why, because, like,
Well,
I'm not from Canada, obviously.
Oh, you from Canada?
I said
Okay.
I'm not from Canada, obviously.
Oh, you're not from Canada?
Well, I mean, you can't say obviously. We wouldn't know that. There are people in these spaces that are from Canada.
Well,
Most of the people speaking.
if we're talking about, I mean,
I'm saying most of the people speaking, we know each other. So that's why when people ask you like where you're from, it's just because you're an unfamiliar face.
I'm from Baltimore.
I was gonna say she did kind of sound like she had that Maryland accent.
Yeah, I'm from Baltimore.
Second question, I see.
I've actually been in a few spaces with her before. Just let her go ahead and ask your question, Which, but listen to this.
Okay, got it. No, because the thing is, you got is that the Ukraine flag in your
That's what I was gonna say. It looks like Ukrainian flag.
Yeah. See, that's my problem though. I feel like we distract ourselves with things that are not as important as talking about.
Wait. Icy. Don't wait.
But why can't we talk about the situation at hand?
Icy, don't do that. Don't say that we distract ourselves, because Icy, there's a lot of things distracting me when I'm going your profile. So don't do that. If you really wanted no distraction, then there would be a lot less things that you would be doing. So don't say that, Icy. You started off wrong. I just asked you a question. I wasn't being mean or anything like that. I just wanted to know where you're from. You got the Ukraine flag. I'm like, okay, maybe she's in Ukraine right now. Maybe she could drop some information on us and let us know what's going on over there. But you know, you didn't want to answer the question. But go ahead.
Well, I'm here to talk about issues about, and I am actually very interested in the whole point of reparations and whatnot. But I feel like, well, I already know where this is going because I've already had people kind of, give me stuff for this. And
I see. I literally asked you a simple question. Are you from the United States? And now you over here just going crazy. I just asked you a simple question. You sound like you have an accent. You got the Ukraine from your body. I'm just curious, and you over here about to attack me for no reason. Don't do that.
my accent, what accent do I have?
The accent that we can hear, honey.
I'm
The accent that we can
Okay,
hear.
look, we're not. I see. We're not trying to jump on you. Let's
I
be.
mean, it kind
This
of
is my
feels like
first
you
time
are,
ever.
though.
I've never seen you before, so, or at least if I
Yeah,
did, it
but
was in
like,
passing. So I don't know what other people know about you, but I will say the Ukraine flag next to the black fist. That's a very interesting combination to put as your name, considering the fact that Ukrainians are very notorious neo-Nazis. I find that very interesting, considering the fact that a lot of the resources that need to be going to Black Americans are actually going to Ukraine. It seems it's very off-putting for a lot of the people who are on this panel to see you speak on reparations when you have the Ukraine flag next to a black fist. And it was, I'm not gonna lie, it was off-putting for me to see that as well too. So that's why people are asking you. I'm not trying to jump on you. I'm not gonna kick you off or anything like that. But what caused you to do that? Like what
well,
is your
I'm
support
gonna
for
be honest with
Ukraine,
you.
strong support for Ukraine for?
I am someone that I multitask. I'm a multitasker, and for me, my activism doesn't just go in one place. You know, for example, I don't just talk about stuff on social media. I'm someone that's about action.
Okay, hold on. Now you said your activism doesn't just go in one place. So where does your activism
Yeah.
go?
Have you ever heard of People's Power Assembly in Baltimore?
I believe so. Maybe in
Okay.
passing I have. I'm not very familiar with it.
Are you a part of a grassroots organization?
Now I'm a part of the Black First Society. You can call that a
Okay.
grassroots
So like
organization.
what do
Ask
you
you a
guys
It's
do?
question.
not
Like
really an organization
We
Hold
actually.
up.
we are the we
Hey,
are the
hey,
grassroots.
hey,
We
y'all.
are the
I'm telling y'all.
grassroots.
but
Hold up, I and you were uninterested in answering the question.
This is, trust me, I know I got this. Because when I ask you a question and I'm being very respectful, I'm not trying to dish you at all. I don't know you enough, but I'm looking at your profile and there's some very iffy things that I see. Some very iffy things, and I'm
like
not trying to
what?
put you on blast.
Besides
Okay, first
like
off,
what?
This my
um,
third space being in with her. Wait, just listen to these responses y'all about to get. It's the
just
same thing.
first, just the Ukraine thing, the black fist. I'm seeing a list of pronouns, and then eat my ass,
Okay.
and then I'm not sure why that is. Some other,
Why does that matter for the conversation we're talking about now about
it's
black
just off-putting.
rights?
I'm not saying it. I'm not saying that matters, but we just want to know what angle people are coming at the conversation with, because you came at the conversation and you were saying, yeah, we should be asking questions about reparations, and then you were kind of being vague, and I couldn't tell where you were going, and then so
No,
like,
I was asking question of
yeah,
where to go
okay,
because
yeah, we
that's
should. So now
always
I'm
been something
asking.
that I wanted
So now
to
I'm
understand
asking.
better.
I'm not gonna talk over you, ma'am. So now I'm asking you about the Ukraine and the Black Fist, and the Black Fist is a representative of, Black empowerment. And to put that next to the Ukrainian flag, despite all of the Nazism that the Ukrainians practice on Black people, it's very off-putting for a lot of people in here. And Tim says this is interaction, and I know Tim very well, not personally. I know Tim very well. So if Tim has red flags on somebody, they're put there for a reason. So I'm trying to be nice, but I want to understand, what is your support for Ukraine for?
Well, for one, I only been in one space with Tim, and that space.
That's incorrect.
And
How many
and by
spaces I've been
and
in?
by the way, she has a septum nose piercing, so that makes the situation 10 times worse. So I'm just throwing that out there.
Okay, you're judging people off of like surface things.
Ma'am,
Man,
with
we not
all due
we
respect, I
we
asked
not
Like
you a
you
question
get
and you
how that's
haven't
a
answered.
little like, like y'all don't really know what I be doing in my like day-to-day life. Y'all don't know like
you
how
actually
much
you
I
actually
actually
forget
care about certain
I hosted
issues.
a space and asked you a bunch of questions.
And
That's the thing. You can't even remember me for that. But I'm gonna just sit. That's why I'm just sitting here, just laughing my ass off.
you were in one space
I'm
that
gonna
I
let you
was
just
in
talk. I'm gonna
that
let you talk.
by the
Okay.
way, like why do you think I
I'm
come
gonna
to
let
these
you talk.
spaces?
Ma'am, let me ask you, are you a descendant of American chattel slavery?
Yeah, I am. Actually,
Both,
person
okay, both your
that's
parents. I'm just asking because I don't know you. Both your parents?
okay. Yeah,
I'm,
and
I don't,
it's
okay,
kind
all
of
right.
like
You don't need to get upset with the question. I
no,
don't know
I'm not.
you.
I'm
I'm
not.
asking.
Actually, what my problem is I think black people gatekeep blackness way too much, and I feel like that doesn't really help us overall as a race of people. That doesn't help us. Like, how are we gonna
Okay, let
like
me ask you, who do we gatekeep black
unionize? How
people
how are
from?
we
Who do
gonna
we,
stay together if we keep kind of giving each other these type of like caring about surface level stuff? The whole point
ma'am,
is we
ma'am,
all have one thing in common.
ma'am,
We all want us all to.
that was a sign for you to stop. We don't to be and do enough gatekeeping. You're saying we're gatekeeping blackness. No, we're not gatekeeping enough, really, in my opinion. And I respect diversity when it comes to black people. I understand all black people don't fit in the same spectrum. You have nuance when it comes to black people. We're a very diverse group of people. But what is off-putting is the fact that you keep deflecting anytime we bring up the Ukrainians' Nazism. We've brought that up at least like what 4 or 5 wrong in this conversation, and you
Five.
keep talking about I advocate for everybody. Well, I advocate for everybody, and you have not, despite the fact that I've personally asked you very respectfully multiple times, why do you support Ukraine, despite the fact that Ukraine is racist as hell when it comes to black people, despite the fact that Ukraine openly practiced Nazism in their citizenry and in their government, but the fact that Ukraine is getting billions on top of billions of American dollars that need to be black American people. And you have the Ukrainian flag, which is really a representative of anti-blackness, next to a black fist. And we keep asking you that question, and every time we ask you that question, you deflect from that question by saying you can advocate for something. You can advocate for more than one thing. To be honest, no, you can't. When it comes to black empowerment, let me make this very clear. When it comes to being black first and when it comes to black empowerment, you cannot advocate for more than one thing. Okay? You are black first, you are advocating for black empowerment, and that is it. Because when people talk about, yeah, I advocate for more than one thing, that more than one thing always supersedes blackness. Every time somebody says, yeah, I'm an advocate for this and this and this and this, and I'm an advocate for black people are always last on the list. I noticed that you got the Ukrainian flag before the black fist. The black fist is second after the Ukrainian flag.
Yeah,
And
because
that
the black
represents
fist has
the
always
order in
been
which you
there.
advocate things for me.
So I've tried to have this argument in Tim's group, he can tell you, and it didn't go anywhere. So I'm kind of like, I might as well not even try. And then Tim knows this because
Okay. So now be honest. Tell why didn't that conversation
when
go
I tried
anywhere?
to
Why didn't
argue
it go
about
anywhere?
this? No, it didn't. It didn't go anywhere.
All right,
Also,
tell everybody
because
why
I
it
have
didn't go
a
anywhere.
flag in my name doesn't mean that I'm actually spending any energy doing anything when it comes to that type of thing.
All right, I'm
Is
gonna
that the
say that. I'll say this real quick. She's not gonna answer any questions. She's gonna be
is that the same
very
thing as
defensive on any questions he's asked. You know,
is that the same
I'm
thing as
surprised to
spending
see she
energy
actually
on
asked the
something?
question about being an FBA or not this time. You know, so
With this
it's
country?
not gonna. It's just gonna be a mess. But I'm gonna be quiet and I'm gonna just let her run with it.
Well, actually, yeah. I'm not gonna kick you off right now. Actually, I'm gonna, like I said, we should get into the practice of extending grace. But, ma'am, um, you came up here on the wrong foot. You really did. And I don't even have the negative experiences with you that Tim has. I'm just going off of the experience. Man, this dude keep coming in and coming out. I'm sure he wants to speak. I'm just having the experience that I'm having right now. I'm asking you a specific question in good faith. I'm not making fun of you. I'm looking at some things in your profile that is very suspicious to me. Things that are very off-putting, but I'm not putting that on the jumbotron. I'm not putting that on blast. And you're saying your issue is that we're gatekeeping black people. That doesn't make any sense. So for the sake of the space, for the sake of keeping this space progressive and educational and on subject, we're going to move to the next hand, which is co-host. Help me out here. Who is next?
Lloyd, let me just say something too. I noticed that you seem to have a hostility towards black men when they speak to you. And I just want to know what that's about.
Well, I can answer that question. I know what it's about. She got a damn
Well,
septum
it's
ring
only
piercing.
been black men speaking to me. It's on.
Time out. You got a damn septum nose ring, and I'm going in now because I'm at the jumbotron, and you talking about Hotep's ruined the black community for real. So now I'm gonna go in. I'm gonna take the gloves off. You got that damn septum nose ring. I know all you black women that got that shit. Y'all batshit crazy. Y'all hate black men. You're more than likely moist, like LGBT. I know you. I know your kind. Yeah, I know your kind very well.
My
You can't
kind? That sounds kind of dehumanizing.
You can't stand black men. Don't interrupt me. You can't stand black men. You hang around with gay white dudes all damn day. You like women, and you hang around with gay white dudes and gay white women, and you hate the black community. I just read your whole profile for you. That's exactly who you are. And you came in here to come bother the little Hoteps. You hate us so much that you want to come in here and talk to us. So, like I said before, the nose ring, the septum piercing, gave it all away. Next time, try harder.
You're judging people by their appearance again.
Actually, no, because I've been looking at your profile the entire time. The second I let you up here, I've been looking at your profile. And I've been scrolling through and I've saw a lot of things that I disliked. And I've been, playing fair with you, saying that, this is my first time interacting with you. Hopefully you're coming in with good faith. But a lot of the questions that I've been asking, and I've asked my questions for a very specific reason because I know certain things. I'm looking at your tweets, your retweets, and your likes. I'm looking at all of these things as we're having a conversation right now. I jump back in to unmute and control the room every so often, but I'm seeing a lot of stuff. So I think it's best for you to just listen. So we're just going to do it like that. You have a good day, man. Who was next? Now, did you guys think that we were disrespectful to her? Did we not let her talk?
You
Were
let
we
her talk. Tammy is
disrespectful?
next, just so you know. But you did let her speak, but she just seemed to have some type of hostile attitude that she tried to mask in victimhood. But we were able to see through it right away. So just keep on going.
And for full disclosure, my aggression wasn't being disrespectful to anybody here in the space. I'm saying I was in a space with her where we let her talk for at least 40 minutes, and people were asking her questions, same questions everybody else was at. But I just wanted to save everybody that abuse of the stuff that was coming because you weren't going to get any direct answers. You know, the question that Rich asked, you know, I'm glad y'all muted her during that time because she was going to start leading with her gender first, and it would have just been a big mess, and we'd have been in here yelling and screaming and all that stuff like that. So, again, you know, no disrespect to the space if I may have sounded out of line, but I just wanted to save everybody all that trouble.
By the way, black men, I told you this in a few Twitter spaces ago. I said, if you see a black woman with a damn septum ring piercing, run. Run the opposite direction. If she's going left, run right. If she's going right, if she's going straight, go backwards. If you see a black woman with a damn septum piercing, black man, I'm talking to you, run, nigga. You
Oh,
already know.
and also I forgot to mention she was the backup for that guy. She was the backup for that guy that came.
You see that piercing, family, run. Because you notice it's always the same tweets with him. I hate black men. Black men oppress me. Black men did this to me. So black men, I'm telling you, if you see that piercing, just don't even bother, brother. You're gonna put yourself through a whole bunch of headache. Just save yourself the headache and just go the opposite direction. If you in the bar and she offers you a drink, say, listen, ma'am, I don't drink. I'm good. I'm good. Don't take any advice, nothing. I'm good. And on a serious note, they're very dangerous, family. They hate black men so much, they'll accuse you of doing some shit where you just at the bar chilling and a septum nose piercing black woman come up to you and you deny her whatever you deny her, and she'll just accuse you of doing something. So black men, please stay away from black women that have septum nose piercings. They are dangerous. I'll land right there.
Tammy, you can go ahead.
Good afternoon, peace and reparations, and peace to everybody in the room. I just want to get back to the subject at hand. What's the difference between the elders and younger people? Unfortunately, I feel like the elders run with the white supremacist stigma of when we get the money, everybody's gonna just spend it on frivolous things, and there won't be any progressive movement when we get the money, not knowing that the average black person right now is on an entrepreneurial level, and the kids nowadays, they're trying to get to their bag, like they're trying to really deal with crypto and stock market and all these other things. Just like Jason said, you can't really trust these old niggas. And I really feel like they're jealous also, because if this time with my generation, because I'm 40, and the younger generation, and we really be progressive and get reparations, it's kind of like a slap in the face to them, because they feel like because of the whole civil rights movement, like we're going to overstep them, or, they're going to feel like they didn't do as much as they should, which is the truth. So like everybody says, the truth hurts. And I really think that's what the problem is between the elders and the younger people. And I'll land my plane with that.
Thank you. One of the reasons why the older generation hates on the younger generation is because we've learned from their mistakes. There are people who make mistakes, they learn from it, and they feel happy when other people don't make the same mistakes that they do. The term misery loves company. Misery does love company. They want people to fall where they fell. And when they see young people, we're in our 20s, we're in our early 30s, and we're making moves, we're making monies, we're accomplishing things that they didn't accomplish. We're living better lives than they have. We're learning from their mistakes. We're more educated. We're sharper. We're getting more things done for the community than they were able to do. They get upset with that, because then we look at them and we say, well, why didn't you do that? It's a lot of jealousy that they have. And that's a shame, because the older generation is supposed to pass the baton to the younger generation. That's like what they call it, a relay race, where you're supposed to run with the baton and you're supposed to pass it to the next runner. When you get to the next runner, you pass the baton. But we got the older generation who holds on to the damn baton because they're upset that we're faster runners than they are. That's the issue that we have with the elder generation. Not all of them, because we're making a distinction between our elders who we have respect for and then the olders who we don't have respect for. I want to get to people who haven't spoken yet. Ryan, I'm going to get to you real quick. If anybody wants to speak who hasn't spoken, can you raise your hand so we can keep order of who is next? But until then, Black Alpha, you can go ahead.
In the words of our brother Jada Kiss, I hearing about old niggas that had it be the same old niggas that rat it. Who cares? Love this space, family, all the time, every day. You breaking it down exactly how it's supposed to be. Matter of fact, I got some old niggas driving by me right now. Anyway, the fact is this has always went on in our community. This has always went on. You had them old, don't y'all rock the boat niggas way back in the day. But like you said, brother Afro, the baton has always been passed down. People from slavery, they passed it to Reconstruction. Reconstruction passed it to the Civil Rights. And I would say the Civil Rights era is the first era that really just stopped and said, we ain't giving it to nobody. Because that's also the same era where the dominance of society starts saying, you can come in and you can come in. Brother Neely Fuller talks about the showcase black, the one that they put up and say, well, everything's good because, you know, so-and-so got money. Oprah got money. You know what I'm saying? John Lewis got money, all that type of shit. So what ended up happening was the dominant society started picking people and they start saying, you can come in, you can come in. And then we had a whole generation of these type of people. You always had them old niggas that was funny style and real, you know, goofy or whatnot. But the civil rights Negroes, oh, they're the worst because they're the ones who got the monuments and the statues and the Martin Luther King days. You got people talking about I marched with Martin Luther King and they're 15, 16 rows behind MLK. And they use that against us consistently all the time. If you go back and watch when Tupac passed away, 1996, when he passed, the old niggas had no love for Pac at all. You literally see people that was in their 20s and all the way down, kids was like 11. I was a little boy. I was super young. I wasn't even a teenager. But everybody was out there. They were crying. Anybody who was young was crying and they was upset because they related to that man. When you see the older niggas, they was like, man, you live by the gun, you die by the gun. Fuck them. And you've seen that same vitriol. But the problem is a lot of folks from that era that were Tupac's age, those Gen Xers, they've grown up now and they got a lot of smoke for the generation afterwards. And they are upset that this era right now is moving heavy. This era right now is really pushing things. We're doing things that they never dreamed or imagined. And that got them real salty because a lot of their positions and a lot of those butter biscuits are being challenged now. Now they're upset because when we come in and we start talking about reparations and black empowerment, now the dominant society is pointing to them and saying, hold on, we spent 60 years on y'all to keep these folks down. And now they talking about reparations? Oh, hell no. So they're getting called to Zaddy's principal's office and they got to explain why B1 is in full effect. They got to explain why we got rid of African-American and minority and POC and we saying foundational black America. They got real shook and scared by us. And it's always happened throughout history, but right now it's in full swing and full effect. And I could care less, to be honest with you. I say like this, if the time does not get you, nature will get you. You're going to get old one day and your ass is going to get shipped right the fuck out. And supremacy has a way of breaking people down. You could be 20 years old. I know folks that in their 20s, and they be in here talking about, I'm just going to leave supremacy alone. I'm just going to focus on me. And I'm just going to get my own money. So if you 20 years old and supremacy whooped your ass into submission, you know you whooped into submission by 70. By 70, you done. You want to walk on the beach with your kids and your grandkids and kids' kids. You have no fight in them. And the problem with our community is motherfuckers got no fight, but they want to lead the fight. And that's bullshit. That's wrong. You got to get rid of it. When you look at everybody else, the people that control their community be in their 30s and their 40s. I would say your peak prime, I say from 25 to 45. If you're about that life, you can say 25 to 55, solid. Once you start getting on the opposite side of 55 and you start getting to the 60s and the 70s, you got to be an elder. You got to teach people. You got to work with the youth and you got to have love for them. Anybody who knows when we talk about on the Black Alpha Network, I always say the young folks is watching. And it's our job, everybody in here, if you in your 30s, your 40s, 50s, I don't give a fuck, whatever age you are, it is our job to make sure that everything we do, we leave a better foundational Black American society to the young folks, and we don't leave them with Martin Luther King had a dream. We don't leave them with Edis Pettis Bridge. We don't leave them with John Lewis. We don't leave them with good trouble. We leave them with money, finances, generational wealth, and that way we can push on and get all the older niggas out and all the real ones in. Salute.
You to repeat that one more time.
What part?
Also add the like
I couldn't hear you, brother. Say it again.
Years, the prime years, and I need you to. If you don't got your shit together, it's almost over.
What he's saying is you need to work in your prime so you can live good in your older life. He's breaking up. He's kind of in the matrix right now, but I know exactly what he was saying with that.
Yeah, hey, big facts, big facts. What we do today is going to determine how we are tomorrow. What we do today is going to determine, the lifestyle of our children. Remember, global supremacy, they operate 100 years in advance. And a lot of black folks ain't thinking past this goddamn out here. So yes, it's what we do today. And this is why there is an emphasis and an onus on all of us focusing and building right now. And I will say, as I always say, this era is different. We all feel it. Anybody who says they don't feel it is lying or they blind. This era is different and we're doing things right now. Hey, that one guy, what's that guy's name? What's that old nigga, man? Shit, not John Lewis, the other guy. He's in Atlanta. I forget his name too. It's something Young or some shit or whatever. That guy. And then you had Elijah Cummings. These guys are all out the gate. Like Elijah Cummings gone, Lewis is gone, the young guy. These guys are gone. And it's not only, we can't wait on nature to get rid of these guys. We can't wait till they're 257 years old. Clyburn is 883 years old, okay? We can't wait till motherfuckers 883. We got to get rid of them today. So we don't push them off the block now. We got to push them off the block later. And if you see somebody who's about that bullshit and they're young coons, because there's young coons too. Remember, the Butter Biscuits, they was training a whole new generation of Butter Biscuit chasers, okay? So we eliminate them now, we won't have to deal with them tomorrow. So let's not have the kids getting taught about the Van Jones and the Angela Rye's of the world. Let's put the kids on the Professor Blacks. Let's put them on the Tariq Nasheeds, Afro Elite, Black Alpha Networks, so on and so forth. But with all that said, brother, salute to everybody, man. One love.
One love, brother. I appreciate it. The space is never complete unless you jump in and, you spit that fire. We appreciate that. You always light the room up. Got a lot of energy. If you guys like the energy that he brings to the conversation, you guys definitely want to check out his YouTube channel. I've already put that in the Jumbotron. I knew he was coming, so I put it in the Jumbotron beforehand. So it's in the Jumbotron right now. Beatzilla, our brother Beatzilla, who has a broadcast later on tonight, actually, he's in the Jumbotron as well, too. So you guys want to follow him and subscribe to his YouTube channel. Our brother Torian, his YouTube channel is in the Jumbotron as well also. Ryan, you can go ahead. Shang, you haven't spoken yet. Can you raise your hand? Shang and Lawrence, can you raise your hand?
Hey, brother Afro, let me say this real quick. Shang is the troll. I'm letting everybody know that. I don't know if y'all know, but that dude's a troll. Our brother Freeway was pressing him and he was running. That guy's a troll, so he gonna come in about that.
I was just going to say something, Black Alpha. You correct.
Hey, and this what we talking about right here. The old heads and the coons and all that shit, you getting ran out, brother. And this is the difference between now and then. We don't let you go on for 883 years. We see that guy's a troll, and make sure whatever happens, y'all G-check that dude. I'm about to sign out. One love to everybody, but trolls, no way. This is no troll zone, no Butter Biscuit zone, only the real ones. Holla.
All right.
I love hearing Black Alpha speak.
Shane, I think I do remember you. Now I'm looking at your profile. Maybe you've changed your image or something like that. But I do think I remember you now that I think about it. I think me and you have had interactions before. Do you have an issue with the space? Would you like to add something to the space? I feel like this is going to be interesting. Well, if you're not going to speak, then that's okay. We don't need speakers on the thing who's not going to speak. I remember that guy now. I appreciate Black Alpha for letting me know.
We were in a space with him before Afro. We was actually in one of your spaces before Afro.
Really? Oh, okay. Yeah, I think he probably was. I've run into so many people I forget, but yeah, I think he was, because I'm looking at my name and his thing. So, yep. Yeah, I remember this guy now. But with that being said, who was next?
The no-name person with the stars. It looks like Ryan Petaway. That's
Ryan.
I was just gonna say, Rich, I love how you got on that girl, because literally that septum piercing is the biggest red flag. I don't know why they wear it. Cause let's just keep it a stack here. The girls that black men are fucking with, they don't wear that type of shit. Like, I mean, some do obviously, but the ones that we messing with, have y'all ever seen that movie The Wood? I know it's an old one, but the one with the Omar Epps. People seen that? Okay. Do y'all remember in that scene when they played Grab Ass Friday back in middle school? Do y'all remember that? Because every time I get a girl like that, I just think So she was one of them girls watching us mess around with the cute girls while she just stood there in jealousy, hating us, just hating away, just waiting her whole life to talk shit. Like, and I'm in Long Beach. I'm in Los Angeles, California. We have so many. Like, I can't even stress you how many of these we have, and they just grow up and hate us. I mean, I'm not saying like you gotta like do all that, but they just hate black men so much. It's like, for what? Like,
Ryan, it's an initiation piercing. For you to hate black men, it's a club. For you to join it, you gotta have a piercing.
No, the thing is that like all the black women we fuck with, they don't subscribe to that. They do not subscribe to that. There is such a big break off when it comes to women like that versus black women that black men fuck with genuinely. Like, when I'm talking about the homegirls I have, even the ones I don't even try to go after sexually, the ones I'm friends with, they're not like that in the slightest bit. Yet we get black women like that, and it's like you see them all over Twitter just ruining the circus. It's like, bruh, like, there's other black men on this app that they only see that. It's like, bruh, like, you go outside, you go to school, you get the best homegirls that they laugh at these women. They think that they're crazier than we do. I don't understand it.
Yeah, I don't really state my preference online. I don't, for a very specific reason. I don't state what I like and what I don't like when it comes to women, but I will state that the septum piercing is not cute. It's just not cute. It just looks weird. You know, and that's so far. I'm not gonna really state, well, this is what I like and this is what I don't like. But the septum piercing, it just looks so. Yeah, Lord. Anyway, okay. But let's continue with the hands. Lawrence, you can go ahead, and then we'll go with Lawrence. Spartan, chill. You just came in the room. Can you raise your hand?
Yeah, how's it going, y'all? I normally like to come in when I'm triggered, when it's like some coon saying something silly, or some tether talking about us black people. Then I get really triggered and I be on like, let me in, let me in, let me in. And by the time I get in, they done left about an hour ago. But in terms of the topic, elders versus the olders, um, it's the truth. There are oftentimes a generation. The Bible says there is a generation that does have to die, and it's talking about a particular passage in the Bible, but you could apply that to many situations. The Israelites, when they were delivered from Israel, the older generation had an antiquated thinking. And before they could go to the promised land, they had to wander around the mountains 40 years so that generation could just die off because that type of thinking from their slave masters couldn't be carried into the promised land. So it's the same thing a lot with what we're dealing with here today. We got a class of black people that comes from a couple of generations, the welfare generation, and then the generation before that, butter biscuits, where we get to sit at the same table with white folks now. We passed all of that stuff. We really don't give a damn about sitting at any table with white folks. It's about our reparations and getting our check, and white folks getting our face. They might end up getting fucked up. White folks was in their faces with dogs and water hoses. So it's a different mindset. We're on a different level, and we can't wait 800 years, like old boy was saying. For Clyde Burns and stuff like that. I want my stuff now. So we've got to bombard our message. We got to get out there. Marcel is one dude, in a very small place in America that does not get any attention from anybody, somewhere in the middle of South Carolina. So we need people who are in all over the place, standing up for what we need to do and being in these people's faces. And I land.
Yeah, we need more than just Marcel out there doing it. Everybody needs to be pulling their own weight. Everybody needs to be contributing in some way. I went out to South Carolina because I needed to contribute in a way more than just reading, more than just posting hashtags vote for Marcel. I could, and I'm not trying to shame anybody for not doing it, but I had the capability, so I did so. I supported in the best way that I could do. And that's what everybody needs to do. Everybody needs to go above and beyond to support in every way they can. Thank you for that. Spartan, you can go ahead.
What's up? What's up?
I
First,
would
I
like
just
the topic, before you go, I would like the topic to kind of stay on subject too. So if you have a comment to make about another speaker who isn't on here anymore, I would advise you to keep it brief and please stay on topic going
Oh yeah,
forward.
definitely. I mean, you must have been reading my mind because all I was gonna say is that I don't know her because she was like openly agreeing with me, like, "Oh, Spartan, Spartan," and I was like, But what I wanted to say is that, as I've been in the room, staying on topic, you do get a lot of heat from the elders, but just looking at it on the other side of, you know, we're only going to really know our history, right, from our elders. So, it's just a sediment that I wanted to express it, for me personally, I didn't want to have to go through, ancestry.com. I didn't want to have to go to, website to figure out, where I come from, So I think it was important for me. I don't know how many other people share this sentiment, just wanting to actually figure out where you do come from talking to your grandparents and your great grandparents if you had the opportunity and actually hearing their stories. So, it goes both ways. You definitely take those heat and you can, want them to die off. But, it's kind of just me coming from that, wanting to look at different vantage points. Um, you know, I don't know the reason I do that, right? If we think of like Apple pays, and just staying on point, right? Apple pays out so much money for people to try to hack their system, right? Why do they do that? Because they want to figure out where the holes are, right? So I kind of use that approach in a lot of things I do, in any time I get to whatever. But in the same breath, we do want a lot of that, conservative stuff to kind of die off, definitely. But in the same breath, you definitely don't want to, you definitely want to learn from the people that were here, good and bad. I think you can use it. That's just my 2 cents.
Yeah, you can learn from people's mistakes. But the thing is that we should be learning the mistakes that are being taught to us to avoid. We shouldn't have to learn them the hard way. We should be learning the mistakes because of people from the older generations telling us, hey, this is what I used to do, and I had to learn the hard way, so don't do that. And this is what you should be doing with your money. This is the investments that you should be making. But too often we have the younger generation, and I've had a discussion a couple years ago with my cousin about this, and I told him one of the main reasons why Black people are in the position that we are is because every single time we have to start over from the beginning. We can't win a race if every so often we make a certain goalpost or mileage, then we have to start back from the finish line. Every single generation of Black people has to start back from the finish line. We don't have a generation that leaves an inheritance to the next generation or even to the generation after that. Now, I understand that's not all our fault. I understand that we've been denied capital. I understand that they sabotage our business. I do understand that. But we have to be able to put the blame where blame is due. Often we put blame entirely on one entity. Now, we understand that the root cause of that is white supremacy, but we have a lot of the olders from the older generation who fumbled the ball or fumbled the bag, so shall I say, for the next generation. And then they want to get up on the platform just like that other guy, I forgot his name, that other guy, they want to get at the platform and then they want to yell at the younger generation and they want to talk down to the younger generation and they want to be condescending to the younger generation. We have that far too often. And the older generation has not done enough. And I'm not saying every single person from the older generation. Let me specify. A lot of the older generation has not done enough to make sure the younger generation is living more comfortably. I can't stand when I hear people from the older generation of, oh, well, I went through that. Well, I didn't grow up with a lot of money. Well, my parents let me do this. Well, I mean, I had to do it. Well, yeah, you might have had to struggle, but your responsibility, or even just as an older person, is to try to make sure that the younger generation doesn't go through the same struggle that you went through. That's what all of these other groups are doing. You think these Hispanics who come over here and they're working on rooftops and stuff, they're trying to get their kids in college. They're trying to get their kids to be lawyers and doctors and all that stuff. That's what these other ethnic groups are trying to do. And we do have a section of black people from the older generation who are. And I definitely want to give them their flowers. I definitely want them their respects. But we have too often not enough. And we need to address the difference between the elders and the olders. Chill, you can go, then Vovo.
Hey, Afro. I'm not going to be here for too long. I have a question. Now, a lot of older black folks try to act and talk like they're the authorities or the leaders of black community. In your opinion, why do you think they have that kind of mindset, or they think like that?
Okay, that's a good question. Thank you for that. They have that mindset is because they've been bred. And we've been bred with that mindset. We've been bred with the mindset of anybody who's older than us is supposed to have the respect of an elder. And we should have respect. Okay, let me backtrack. Let me start over. They have that mindset because that's the way it should be working. You should have reverence for the older generation, because by older generation should be the ones putting the younger generation on. That's the way our society used to be. And then we ran into like a couple generations of complete selfishness and self-centeredness, and they are still holding on to the same narrative of the generations that raised them. They're being raised of anybody who's older than me, they automatically deserve my respect. They automatically deserve that, because just by default, it was an unspoken rule that the older generation was supposed to look out for the younger generation. That's just by default. So they're taking the default rule that we are supposed to have, and they're applying the standards to the younger generation that we're supposed to be following them, or we're supposed to be having respect and reverence for them, but they haven't done the work. It was kind of an unspoken rule that back in the day, the older generation, they didn't have to talk about what they did because you already know what they did. Their work speaks for themselves, and so you show them respect for it. That was the unspoken rule, that you would show all the older generations. That's the way it's supposed to go, because everybody from the older generation, they knew what they were supposed to be doing and they did it. Now you have an older generation who didn't do what they were supposed to be doing, but they still want to get the respect that the older generation who did do what they were supposed to be doing got. So that's why they act like that, because they don't feel the sense of respect. When it comes to respect, you can feel it. You know when somebody respects you and when somebody doesn't. There's no confusion about respect. They know that they don't have respect, and they're upset about that.
And one more thing, I noticed some of the older generation, they don't support black businesses, and they even criticize like the prices and stuff, but they don't do any of that to white or Asian businesses. Yeah, I just want to say that.
No, they don't. When black people start something, and a lot of the black businesses that are being started, they're younger. A lot of the younger generations are trying to start black businesses, and it's always the older generation that has something negative. When it comes to reparations, it's the older generation that has something negative to say. When it comes to black businesses, a lot of that is the older generation. A lot of the black people can't do anything right. A lot of that was subliminally taught to black people through the older generation. A lot of that, oh, well, you already know how black people act. Black people are so ghetto. A lot of the anti-black stigma that we've kind of been trying to wake ourselves out of, a lot of the stereotypes that we've been trying to break, has been bred in our minds by the older generation. The whole, when you go to a store, if a white person is present, be on your best behavior in front of white people. That they don't carry that standard when it comes to black people, when it comes to treating other black people. There was one time I was in Texas on a family reunion with my grandma, and we were driving to the hotel, and there was another family, and I know I'm putting my grandma on blast with this, but yeah, I have to say it. There was another family, and they were outside, and they were just houses or something like that from the trunk. And she looked at them, and she was like, "Oh man, what are they doing? All of them outside like that? They must be up to something." And I'm all like, "Well, it looks like they're just getting stuff from the van." And then everybody just laughed. And I'm like, why the first thing you thought about a group of black people is they're doing something negative? That's how the older generation looks at us, but they want us to have respect for them. They see a group
Where
of
did
black kids,
JJ get all that money?
yeah, well, where did he get all that cash? They always looking at us like we're doing something negative. This family was just getting towels, whatever the case may be, from the van, and my grandma's like, "Oh, they must be up to something." Grandma, why? No, I mean, I don't think so. They don't look like they're up to nothing. They got a baby with them. I don't think so. I mean, and that's what we get from the older generation. That anti-black stigma that was put in their minds, they bred it into the next generation and so on. But they want us to have respect when we're breaking out of that shell and they're still stuck in that. I hope that answers your question, but you made a good point. A lot of the haters are the older people.
Okay.
Vovo,
That's all I wanted to say.
thank you. I appreciate that. Vovo, you can go ahead.
Yeah, I just wanted to touch on the topic real quick. The elders versus the olders. Elder should be someone that's wise, someone that you can look up to, somebody that been through the fire, somebody that you can go to and get some advice from, somebody that you can learn from. You know what I mean? The older is just some shit that everybody gonna do, and everybody gonna get older. You know what I'm saying? Like right now, in my neighborhood, you know, the younger dudes, 18, 17, 19, 20, even 25-year-olds, they see me as like an elder. They don't call me elder or nothing like that, but I'm 35, I'll be 36 this year. So they see me as like somebody that's older, that been through some shit, that changed his life, I was in the streets, you know what I'm saying? And now, you know, I'm doing good. I got my own shit. I got myself together. I'm doing well. So they aspire like that one day, you know what I mean? And I aspire to be like some of the older dudes in my hood that, you know, they got businesses and they've been having property and shit like that. That's something to strive for. You know what I'm saying? Everybody gonna get older, but in my opinion, everybody not gonna be an elder. Everybody not gonna reach. Elder is like a status, you know, to me. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's some dudes in my neighborhood right now that's in their 50s still standing on the block, still standing on the corner. And they were standing on the corner when I was standing on the corner. And I was 15. And they was 30. They was old then, talking about y'all messing the block up and all that. And like, bro, what the hell are you doing out here? They stuck. They just old. You know what I'm saying? Like, I be in the hood and I see older ladies, you know, 45, 50, running around here with booty shorts on. Like, what are you doing, ma'am? Ma'am, you is you a grandmother. What are you doing? Like, you trying to dress like you 20. You competing with your daughter. Like, like, you a goofy. You know what I'm saying? So, like, elder is a status to me. And older is that we all gonna do, hopefully, you know, if we lucky. And I land there.
That was a good point you made. An elder is like a status because everybody's gonna age. Everybody ages, everybody gets older, but that, and you just living a life doesn't get you respect. You don't just get respect because you lived a certain point in your life, but it's what you've done that gives you that title. It's like a title. Elder is like a title. And that used to be automatic because black people used to know automatically this is what I had to do. I had to take care of my family. I had to pass the game down to the next generation. I had to look out for the younger cats out there. You know, they're supposed to be looking at us like, okay, yeah, like how Ryan was saying, yeah, you know, when you're in high school, you do things that you're probably not supposed to do, and then you have the older dude who's out there like, yeah, they're not supposed to be doing that, but I used to do the same thing too, so I can't even really get that mad at them. That's what they're supposed to do. And they're supposed to be like, hey, well, if y'all gonna do it, just make sure you get a hall pass. Just make sure you do your homework and everything. That's what they're supposed to be doing. They're supposed to be helping you. They're supposed to be somebody that when you graduate, you're reaching back out to them and you're saying, hey, I want you to come to my graduation because you helped me. That's what they're supposed to be doing. That's the position that they're supposed to be in life. They're not supposed to be the one who's always out there trying to suspend you from school, trying to get you expelled, putting you on unnecessary detention, failing you in classes. You have too many of the older generation who just despise and have jealousy for the younger generation. I see, like you said, Vovo, I see people in the damn late 40s, early 50s dressing like they're in their 20s, in their teenagers. You shouldn't be doing that. There's no reason in the world you should be dressing more provocative than your daughter is at age 50. If your daughter has more class and civility than you do, then that's a big issue. I've never seen my dad jeans with damn knees cut out with like the ripped jeans or anything, and I don't think I ever want to. I don't even wear that. So I would be blown away if I saw my dad sitting up there wearing some ripped jeans. I'd be like, Dad, what the hell? You're in your 50s. Your late 40s, early 50s. Why are you wearing ripped jeans? Why do you got your hat tilted backwards? Like, what are you trying to do? Why are you trying to emulate the young? And that's an issue that we have with the older generation. I'm gonna let you go ahead in a second. That's an issue we have with the older generation. They don't do the right things when they're young so they can age gracefully. There should be a difference in maturity. There should be a difference in the way you act and present yourself in your 20s and then in your 30s and in your 40s and 50s and 60s. There, you should go through different stages of life and you should be able to age gracefully. You think a 50-year-old twerking on Twitter, I don't need to say any names, but do you think a 50-year-old twerking on Twitter, do you see that as someone who's aged gracefully? That's not a woman who's aged gracefully. That's a woman who still wants to be young. That's a woman who still wants to live like she was in her 20s at the club. That's not someone who's aged gracefully. That's not someone we have respect for. You want to be someone who's aged gracefully, who's like, yeah, I've done that. I have my time when I was young. Yeah, I was in the streets back then, but I've matured since then. You're supposed to mature. There should be a difference between a 15-year-old and a 25-year-old and a 35-year-old. There should be different levels of maturity in all those stages of life. If you're at the same level of maturity in each stage of life, then you're not growing. You're just getting older. Now with that being said, Vovo, you can hold on. Who is texting me? Vovo, you can go ahead. And then Nikki, did you want to say something?
No, I was just gonna say, don't come to Milwaukee or Atlanta if you don't want to see some older people with cutout jeans, because you're gonna see that in those places.
You know what I don't like too? I don't like the older dudes. The dudes well in their like 50s, like late 40s, 50s, and they're wearing super tight shirts because they just started going to the gym. Like they're wearing tight shirts and shorts and everything, trying to look, I guess, fresh. Dude, you're in your 50s. You're supposed to look like a mature man. You're not supposed to look like you're some type of 20-year-old jock college. That's not the goal. You should be out of that stage in life where you want people to look at you that way. You should be at a stage where you want to present yourself in a different way. You have a lot of the older generation who want attention. You shouldn't. There was one video where it was the TikTok, and I'm gonna be short with this. There was a TikTok of a woman stitching, which is like, I guess, doing a duet video or something like that, with her mom twerking on twerking on TikTok. You don't have any idea how embarrassing that is. And the video went viral, which is so unfortunate. Where she's in her 20s and she has to see her mom on the internet twerking in a viral video. Doing it was some type of challenge she did or something like that. One of those ass shaking challenges, and she duetted it. Like, oh my God, I can't believe I just saw my mom doing this. Like that's shameful. That's not aging gracefully. You shouldn't be trying to be on TikTok twerking with the 20-year-olds. But with that being said, Shang, you wanted to speak. Is there something specifically you wanted to say? Because you requested to speak again. Well, I guess if there's nothing you want to say, I don't think anybody wants to see you up here. So I'm just going to remove you for the rest of the night. You have a good night, sir. Anybody else wants to come up and add to the conversation, you can feel free to do so. But when you come up, add to the conversation. Don't come up and not say anything. Vovo, you had your hand raised a second ago. Is there something else you wanted to add? Okay. Well, until then.
phone froze, huh? Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Oh, damn, that's crazy. It looked like my mic is off. But yeah, I just wanted to, something you touched on about
Can you guys hear him? I can't hear him anymore.
No, I can't hear him at all.
Hey, Vovo, you might have to drop out and come back in because I'm not sure what's going on. But I can't hear you. I was for a second. I can't hear you. So yeah, just drop out and come back in. Until then, let's get to Tim. Tim, you can go ahead.
Yeah, I'll be quick. Just wanted to chime in and throw in some more stats and on the elders and oldest thing here. Let's use the two comparisons of Opal Lee and the survivors of Tulsa. You know, the three survivors, the 300-year-olds who actually going through their fight, who they actually wanted to die, so they couldn't actually go through their fight to get reparations. You know, look at how they shuttled those people around, and you know, put them in Jordans. I think they put the old ladies and stuff like that in Jordan. I think the older brother, you know, inside of that, I think they were inside of that in the auditorium, and he actually like came out and said, "Hey, we went out, we won reparations and stuff like that. That was good." Then we jump over to the other side. We got Opal Lee holding up her pen, you know, trying to you know, thankful that Biden made Juneteenth a holiday, that pretty much they done pretty much mixed up with everything, you know, everything else. They mixed it in with the gay community stuff, and you know, they wish they did purposely. You know, they can kind of really distort things. But just look at that dynamic between Opal Lee and the survivors of Tulsa, who are trying to give reparations compared to what Opal Lee's doing. And I think Beatzilla actually did a show, describing the farce, which is Opal Lee, you know. So I think you can go back and look at his, I forget what the title of his broadcast that he actually did on that, you know, of somebody that's in his state that actually started that up. So I just wanted to end on that, you know, just to add some more to the history of that.
Thank you for that. I'm now here. I'm on my laptop working. I'm multitasking right now, but I'm appreciating this conversation. I heard everything you said, and I'm appreciating this conversation. It's going pretty good so far. I mean, we had some rough draft in the beginning, but you see how we got that knocked out, and now we're having a space where people can actually come and have a dialogue, and it's respectful. Spectrum, you can go ahead. Or Spartan, I'm sorry. Spartan, you can go ahead.
What's up? I mean, Tim, you made a point. If anyone wants to respond to that instead before me, I don't mind that, because he made some really valid points that I was not prepared to respond to. So if anyone wanted to.
Wait, I want to say, my mic got cut off. Did y'all hear anything I said? I don't know what. I got kicked out the room.
No, I didn't hear anything.
Oh, I was just touching on the point you was making about the ripped up jeans thing. Before my father died, you know, I remember he got on me about wearing Jordans, and we was going to eat with family, and I was fresh, you know what I'm saying. In my book, I was like 27, so I had a little jogging suit and some Jordans, and he felt like it was inappropriate, to be going out with a jogging suit and some Jordans on. He used to call them, you go on those Michael Jordans tennis shoes, he old, so that's how he took you on those Michael Jordans. This ain't no basketball game, and and all that shit. And he was against wearing jeans unless you going into work. He like some work clothes, you know what I mean? You got to wear some slacks and some hard bottom shoes. I'm like, nigga, you old. Like that's some old shit you talking about, but that's how he was. He was old. It would be weird if he showed up with some Jordans on, hat to the back, you know what I mean? Some skinny jeans. What you doing, Pops? Don't nobody want to see you in that. Like, we want you to act your age. You know what I'm saying? My mother used to always say, act your age and not your shoe size. You know what I'm saying? So don't nobody, if you older and you trying to act young still, you got to let that go. You got to let that go. You had your time. You know what I'm saying? We don't want to see don't nobody want to see no old lady in no booty shorts. Don't nobody want to see no old nigga out here still trying to look young. Just, it's okay. Your time has passed. You in another stage in your life. And that's okay. That's what we supposed to do. Elders grow. Oh, and I'm gonna land right there.
Exactly. You're seeing that a lot when it comes to not only just the older generation as far as our parents and family members. You're seeing that when it comes to the celebrities too. You're seeing these celebrities, a lot of these celebrities who are washed up, the older ones, they're out here, they have to make twerking videos. They're in their 40s making twerking videos, walking on the damn red carpet butt naked, doing the most extra stuff because they didn't age gracefully. And this is what I'm saying to the older generation. This is the importance of aging gracefully as Black men and Black women. So you don't have to compete with the younger generation. You can let the younger generation do what we do. You can let us listen to the music that we listen to and do what we do. And you don't have to compete for attention. All this, I want to be the popular kid for the rest of my life. That's never going to happen. There should be a stage in your life where you don't care about popularity anymore. Yeah, when you're 15, 16 and you're in high school, yeah, you want to be the popular kid. Yeah, you want to hang around the popular kids and you want to be in a popular crowd. And then as you grow older, when you get into college and then when you pass college, that kind of fades away. And that should naturally fade away where, yeah, I'm more selective with the people I hang out with. I'm not just going to hang out with somebody because they're popular. I'm more selective. I'm more disciplined now than I was when I was 15 years old or back when I was in high school. That's how you should age naturally. And through that natural aging, you will learn certain things in life. You will make mistakes in life, and you will be able to pass that knowledge down to the younger generation. But we have older people from the older generation. We got people, and they don't necessarily even have to be old. They could be 40 plus hating on the 20-year-olds. You have people who are of the older generation, at least in comparison to the younger generation, and they're out here trying to be the competition. They're out here trying to jump on the same trends with the younger generation. They're wearing the same clothes. Now, when it comes to the younger generation, we all know something goes into style and then something leaves. And they're so behind the curve, they're always on the last style. They're never up to date, and they shouldn't be because this isn't their era anymore. You had your chance. You're not the popular kid anymore. You need to pass the baton. The issue when it comes to Black people, and we're just talking on the social issue, is the fact that they don't want to pass the baton. They want to be the people that has the camera on them forever. They have an issue with passing something down. They have an issue with putting somebody else on game. They're gatekeeping and everything. When you go, trust me, I've had multiple different jobs in my life. I'm saying that like I'm old, but I've had multiple different jobs before. And there's a lot of people who've been working there for 15 years, 20 years, and they know a whole bunch of tips and tricks and things that you should do in the job and how to move up in the job. And they don't want to tell anybody. They gatekeep that information. They don't tell people how to maneuver. They don't tell people how to do anything. To be honest, you learn a lot more from younger people. When you go to a new job, you'll be more embraced. You'll be more by the younger people of that job, the people in that job. The older people in that job, they'll look at you. They don't want to talk to you. They'll look at you. They'll roll their eyes when the supervisor tells them to tell you something, to teach you something. And when it comes to the economics, this is a big issue that they had, because when they were working those government jobs and before they fumbled the bag, the ones that didn't want to take care of their house, so they sold it back to the bank. And now Black people are facing gentrification all over the nation. Now, I'm not going to blame gentrification on them entirely, but Black people are facing gentrification and what they did didn't help. What they did actually helped what the white supremacists were trying to do. They're selling all their houses, selling all their assets. They want to live it up. They don't want to pass anything down. If back in the day, if you were to talk to them about investing for the next generation, if you were to talk to them about Black empowerment, they would say, "Hey, man, we ain't on that no more, man. We just want to have fun." They same things that you see some of the rappers like Young Thug and Gunna, the same things that these rappers are saying. We want to be iced up. We want to have fun. That's the same things the older generation was saying about the younger generation. Hey, I got my Cadillac. I'm good. I don't want to worry about all that stuff. They didn't save anything. They didn't invest anything. And they allowed the next generation to start from scratch. But they still want to have the respect that they know they should have. They know they should have it, but they didn't do anything for it. And they're just mad because they know they're never going to get it. So I'm going to land there. And Spartan, you can you can unmute yourself. Ludi, you can raise your hand. After Spartan, we'll go with Lawrence, then Ludi. And then No Cap, you got to raise your hand too.
Thank you, man. And this space is awesome. I'm definitely gonna start tapping with y'all more often. All I wanted to say is I don't know, because I've been in the space for about 45 minutes, maybe like last hour, if that, no more than. Or so just honing in on the negativity of the older versus elders kind of thing. Because I only say that to say my question is like when it comes to looking for, obviously I'm a male, so looking for a partner and a female. I love older women. You get what I'm saying? So I totally agree. I agree with every word that came out your mouth. I don't think, they should whatever. But then again, I'm a man. I don't really want to pose my opinion on what a female should do. You feel what I'm saying? They hold us to expectation. We hold them expectations, but at the end of the day, it's just that. I only say this to say, most women, and again, I'm obviously not a female. I'm just striking ideas, right? To further the conversation. And it's just my question. A lot of women, based on what I just hear, really hit their peak of, again, I'm not a female. I'm just speaking to what I hear. Really hit their peak in that 30, late 20s, 30s, where they really peak. And again, obviously I'm not a female. If anyone wants to correct me or speak to it, that's what I hear a lot. Is a lot of females, obviously who don't grow up privileged or whatever, in that 18, 20 wasn't the hot girl at 16 or 21, but she built herself and she got her money, you feel me? And she came around, graduated, was hustling, came out, felt 30, and now she's 34, but she's making six figures or no less than 70 bands, now she feeling a hot girl. So I just wanted to speak to that was all. But I honestly I agree with everything that you're saying. I was just coming with a further a different aspect.
Okay. Yeah, I understand. What I'm trying to harp on, and I know I might seem like I'm coming off real negative. I'm coming off real harsh on the older generation. This should be a learning lesson for the older generation, because you do have some people who sacrifice themselves for the younger generation. You have some of the older generation who are very selfless, who we wouldn't be in the positions that we are in today had it not been for somebody older. I'm pretty sure as much shit I can talk about people from the older generation, I can tell you I wouldn't be in the position that I am right now in my life had it not been for somebody in that same generation who gave me the game, who told me, hey, young man, you're a bright young man, but you need to stop doing that. I'm just looking out for you. I would advise you to stop doing that, or you need to start doing this, or this is how you can do better. And me taking their advice and me adjusting myself, me fixing myself and adapting and learning. And that's made me grow into the man I am today. And a lot of young men right here, we can confess to the same thing. A lot of young women, they can say the same thing too. They can testify to the same thing. So there's a balance between the respect and disrespect, or not a balance. There's a difference between respect and disrespect. Just because everybody's older doesn't mean they need to be painted with the same brush. And we do understand that younger people make mistakes. Younger people do make mistakes. So should we hold them to the same standard of when they were 20 years old, they should be perfect? No, I don't agree with that. I feel like when it comes to the older generation, too often they hold them to too high. Sometimes they're held to too high of a standard where if they made any mistake in their life at all, period, that they shouldn't be respected, or they're not credible whatsoever. They could be a 40-year-old trying to speak on Black empowerment, and somebody brings up a clip with them swirling when they were 15 years old. Okay, well, I mean, they were 15 years old. That was a long time ago. But I'm saying this to say we have a lot of the older generation who needs to earn their stripes. They need to put in work to show that they should be somebody who's listened to. Like the older guy who came in, I'm not sure if you were here in the room, there was an older man who came in, and he was just saying a bunch of stuff, but he was speaking down on reparations. And I asked him, I didn't even really combat him. I asked him the simple question. I asked him this first for a very important reason. I asked, why should we be listening to you? What do you know, or what have you done that puts you on that we should respect and have reverence for, and that we should be adhering to what you say? And he couldn't say anything. When it comes to older women, I love older women. I love younger women too. Just, not that young, but I love adult women. I'm gonna just say that, let me, because you already got a certain group of people who out here who's gonna twist everything I say. I love adult females who have matured into adulthood. let me specify that, okay? But yeah, there's nothing wrong with an older woman. And there's a lot of wisdom, like Vovo was saying, that older women have wisdom that younger women don't have. Older women, a lot of times peak, especially for the younger guys. They can put the younger guys on the level that a woman of their age bracket couldn't put them on. So I'm not trying to diss anybody. I'm just trying to say this is what needs to be said, because too often we either hold all of the people from the older generation, we hold them in the absolute of, we respect everything you've done. Everybody from that generation, we're going to paint you with a positive broad brush of, we love everything you've done. Or we hold them at the standard of, everybody from that generation, we're going to completely discard everything you've done. Anybody who's older than me, to hell with them. So there's a nuance between that. Okay, you got people like Jim Clyburn out here messing things up for foundational Black Americans, And then you have older people like Dr. Claude Anderson, who's been advocating for reparations and who's been trying to achieve reparations for foundational Black Americans. Both of these two people are from the same generation, but they have completely different mindsets. And we need to be very focused on who we target, so we don't target people who are actually coming to help us or who actually want to help us. I don't mind older people at all, but I'm not gonna lie, when they come, the first thing they start doing is they start bragging about how old they are. That's a red flag to me. And thank you for that question. Let me see, Lawrence, you can go ahead.
Okay. So, man, me and my best friend have had this conversation several times. I'm trying to figure out where to start it. So, I'm going to speak mainly towards when it comes down to Black men and inheritance. Because of our FBA history, of course, we didn't receive any inheritance being released from slavery. And that doesn't come down to just finances, right? It comes down to manhood. There was nothing to pass down to, from a generation to the next generation on what it took to be a man. It's something that we had to navigate and figure out ourselves. I give you one example. A few 4 years ago, I was in an Uber on the way to Walmart, and this African dude was the driver, and he was in Atlanta, and for some reason he was complaining about the crime in this area, and says the black guys out here, man, they do this and they do that, and they sell drugs and they gang bang. Look at him over there. My son's in college, and he's this, that, and the other thing. So I let him know that him being from Africa, his son has a direct connection to being taught manhood from him, and then him to his father and his father before, etc., going all the way back. Us being released from slavery into an already developed world, we had none of those traditions to pass down. A lot of us figured it out, like your Claude Andersons eventually and people like that, but so many of us did haven't. If you look at, I'm a millennial, so if we look at the generation before our parents, you know, a lot of those men never grew up. um, you see a lot of men today in those age groups, like you said, dressing young, are dressing like they're still in the 90s. You know, a lot of their language hasn't developed and their mindset all the way into adulthood. I recently went to like a family reunion, seeing uncles that I hadn't seen in years. In their late 50s, still coming up to me talking about, "Hey, yo, nephew, what's good, nephew?" And in my head, I'm like, "You're 60." You know what I'm saying? Like, why are you still talking like that? You know what I'm saying? Still wearing baggy pants, still walking with that, that OG type of, that tilt that they you supposed to have what when you walked in the 90s, stuff that they learned from the 90s hip hop lifestyle. And a lot of them hadn't grown up in that generation. And the reason why is because there was, not a lot to pass down to them to teach them how to walk into manhood. We are a generation past that. So we're more developed than our forefathers, even though they really didn't have much to transfer down to us. We took what they could give us and we developed much faster than them. If you look at our generation, millennials, and the ones that are younger millennials, most of us are much more progressive mentally, business wise, and so much more than our fathers. So a lot of the lack of maturity is because, we don't have a lot that passed down to us. You'll see Hispanics, a lot of them, they have, you know, uh, rites of passage. Jewish people, you don't become a man until you get circumcised as a rite of passing into manhood. You know, um, and then because of our FBA plight with issues from the 70s and welfare, the prison industrial system. A lot of them and a lot of us did did not have fathers, and we tried to identify manhood as by how many women we slept with, and things like that. We really had to figure this shit out on our own. So that I believe is the reason why you see a lot of the direct older heads, at least in terms of men, not as mature as they should be, because a lot of it wasn't passed down. Now, women have always been much more mature for the most part than men because, as you know, with the FBA plight, women had to step into the space to really raise the family, and unfortunately, play both men, and mama. That goes back to even directly after slavery. You know, even when men were good, like had a lot going for them, way back in the day, a lot of those men would leave the family so they wouldn't be a burden to the family because racism was heavier against them. So women oftentimes were still left alone to rear the family herself. So that's why you see black women mature so much more faster. Now you do have few black women today who are just some ignorant asses, 50 something years old twerking. That's just a class of black woman. Those people gonna always exist. Want to be their daughter's best friend instead of their mother's. But for the most part, you'll see women much more uh, progressing than the male counterpart, only because of what type of plight we've had in our history. But it's up to us, like, we don't got to go through that same stuff. We have access to what they didn't have access to. So when we have children, and for those of you men in here who have already had kids, especially young boys, you know, you can actually teach them what your fathers weren't able to teach you. You can model them. And when you turn 50 years old, you won't be dressing like, you were, skinny jeans and shit like that. You're going to be wearing slacks and suits, and you're going to be a grown, sexy man. Like, everyone should want to be grown and sexy, you know? But it's a maturity thing that I think that was cut off. But you know, that's just my scope of it. I've had this conversation all the time, especially since a lot of us, you know, do come from fatherless homes or homes that had fathers that were broken, and a lot of times it's because the maturity there, the grown up, never really hit them like that, in my opinion. And I land.
Before we get to the next speaker, if you guys like content like this, I tend to take my spaces that I record and I put them on my YouTube channel so you guys can listen to the playback on YouTube. My YouTube is in my bio. You can just go to it and you can subscribe while you're there. Since you're there, you might as well subscribe. I also have my YouTube in the Jumbotron along with our brother Beatzilla, his YouTube, our brother Black Alpha, our brother Torian Rain. I have all their YouTubes in the Jumbotron. So I believe, yeah, everybody in the group's YouTube is in the Jumbotron. So if you guys could please do that. We're not going to be on that much longer, family. So if anybody wants to come up and speak who hasn't spoken yet, most of the time when I get ready to wrap the space up, everybody wants to get their 2 cents in. So this is me giving you guys like a few minutes of a warning before I do the last call, so to speak. So before the last call, I'm wrapping this up in about the next 20 some minutes. So if anybody wants to jump in and give their 2 cents on the olders versus elders, the people we should respect and the people we shouldn't respect. And before we go on, because Ryan, you had your hand up. Before we go on to Ryan, I want to say I don't automatically assume that somebody is old who's older than me needs to be disrespected. I don't try to make automatic assumptions of anybody. I deal with people with a case by case basis, on a case by case basis. And that's the way you should handle everybody. You shouldn't paint anybody with a broad brush. I don't know why I can't say that word. You deal with everybody on a case by case basis. Now, there are signs. You should have the ability to recognize patterns. So when you see certain people who show you certain signs, you don't even need to listen to everything that they say. You don't need to know their full background story. You can just be able to see the signs and be all like, yeah, I can tell you're giving me red flags already. Just like that one Icy, when she came up here, she was giving me red flags with the Ukraine next to the black fist. And then I looked at her profile, confirmed every negative thought that I already had. But you saw the way I spoke to her. I didn't assume like, oh, you got the Ukraine flag, you a coon, blah, 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 blah. I didn't do that. I did not do that. I was respectful enough to give her grace. And that's what we should be doing. We should be taking everybody by case basis. But in that case, we recognize the pattern and we got them off the block. Now, taking everybody by case basis doesn't mean that you extend grace any longer than what is supposed to be given to them. So just because you're trying to hear somebody out doesn't mean you hear them out for too long, doesn't mean you let them monologue and explain and waste the time and change the progression of the space, change the topic and the direction of the space. That does not mean you do that. You can easily give people the benefit of the doubt, and then the second they slip up, be like, well, that just confirmed what I thought from the beginning, so now I got to remove you. So that's how we handle the older generation. We don't go out and we don't disrespect our elders, but we don't allow our elders to disrespect us either. Why? Because we're going to be elders. Hopefully everybody in this room is going to make it to an older age, and we're all going to age gracefully. And we are going to be responsible of making sure we pass things down to the next generation. Ryan, it's your responsibility to be like that older black dude who was like the cool black guy at the school who's looking out for the younger guy. I'm not saying you got to work out of school necessarily, but the role that he played to them. It's your responsibility to make sure like, hey, an older dude, he looked out for me, so I'm going to look out for you. I had older guys I didn't even know. I'm stranded on the side of the road, and they came over with jumper cables, and they came over with a jack, because most of the time it was because of my tire was flat, but they came over with a jack that I didn't have. I've had older people look out for me all the time. Okay, I've had older people try to sabotage me too. So that's why you have to have the ability to decipher who's the older and who's the elder. You have to have that ability, and it's going to become our ability to pass the baton. This is why we're up here criticizing them right now in this very space, is because they failed to pass the baton to the next generation. But it's our responsibility to make sure that we don't make the same mistake that they made. So we make sure that we're running faster than everybody else. So we make sure the next generation gets the baton before all of the other races give their baton to the next generation. We're trying to think proactively. We want our children to be more advanced growing up than their peers are. Their non-black counterparts are, I should say. So that's the progression. That's the goal of this space right here. Lottie, you haven't Ryan, you had your hand up. Then we'll go with Lottie. You haven't spoken yet, but you got to raise your hand.
Yeah, I'll make this real short. Where I'm from in Long Beach, I'm blessed to be here because we've been able to grow up with dudes like Snoop Dogg in the community, dudes like Warren G, famous guys that they really do care about the city. They do care about the community. Even NFL legends like Willie McGinnis, I see them on a weekly basis. You can just go to certain parts of the East Side and you will see them. They are always up in the community. They're always at Chittick Field. They always doing what they need to do. And I feel like this has been lost on other regions of the world or nation because some people don't get that, and it's just a disservice to the youth because when you grow up and you see success, you want success. We have a whole plethora of hustlers in Long Beach. They get the most respect because they really put in the work. They really do what they do, and that's what you respect when you grow up and you see what they do. We got dudes, mechanics that have worked their ass off. They bought their self whole dealerships because I'm not dealerships, but like little mechanical yards where they fix cars and all that. And they do it because they work their asses off, and we've been able to see it. We got older dudes that were in high school when they were just starting out, getting their cars fixed on. So it's really a special opportunity when you get to grow up and see elders that really know how to lead the youth and tell them what to do and how to grow and get success. That's all I'll say.
Thank you for that, Ryan. Lottie, you can go ahead. And then J Net Z Nay J Z Nay or J.
Oh
whatever.
no, no, let them go ahead. I'm just happy listening. I'm just happy listening. So
Okay.
let them go.
So is there something you wanted to add in the conversation? Because I'm not going to be on too much longer.
No, I'm just really happy listening because what everybody else has said, especially you, has been really, really good.
Thank you. I appreciate that. Okay. Well, J Z Nate Z. Why can I not say this? What is wrong with me? The person who just came up, you can unmute yourself.
Good evening.
Going out here and make me look like a fool. I can pronounce names if I want to. Keep going. No, I'm talking to myself. Keep going.
Good evening, everybody. B1 family. It's a pleasure to be in here with you. Afrobeats and Nikki and everybody, a couple of names I recognize. But anyway, I just want to say this real quick. You see that picture that's on my profile? That's my mother. She passed away in December the 4th. She got a birthday coming up. Clyburn is in her generation. She was born in 1943. He was born in 1940. Now, I can't speak for everybody's parents, but my mother left something, and she grew up in a community of people that passed things on to all of us. Now, our ancestors only knew as much as they were taught. And one thing I want to say, Afro Elite, when people lead in with their ages, it's not because they want to say they know more than everybody. It's because they're proud that they're still here. Because so many of our compadres are dead or are either in prison or all the other stats that go against us. And so I just want to say thank you for being the man that you are. And I know you're a little younger than me because you're probably my daughter's age. I have a daughter that's 37 years old. I have a son that's 21 years old. But that doesn't make me any smarter than you. I respect you because I hear where you're coming from. And you're coming from where I used to be when I was a militant all out there by myself, and they used to call me militant. There was no name that you all called, I forgot the name, Nia Hotel or whatever you want to say. There was no hotels. We were just militant, and you didn't like white people. That's who I was. And now I got a group of people that feel like me, that I'm older. They just don't like the white supremacists. So I found my tribe, so to speak, at this age. And I just want to say thank you guys for allowing me to hang out with you guys. And I think Beatzilla might be just somewhere in my age bracket. I ain't gonna call him out, but it don't matter. We're still young in heart, and we gonna stay young because y'all gonna keep us young. And I appreciate that a whole lot. So on that, I'm gonna land my plane and say thank you guys and be one.
Be one to you, and happy birthday to your mother. Nikki, you can go ahead. Nikki, you can go ahead.
I didn't realize I had my hand raised. But now that I'm up, I'd like to point out that it is common for older people to have jealousy of younger people because they see something in them that they wish they could be, aka Mr. Jealousy, the person who's always obsessing over you. They see something in you that they tried to be, or maybe didn't try hard enough to be. They couldn't reach those same accomplishments. And so now they start attacking the younger people and making it hard for them and pointing out every little thing that they don't like. And so that's behavior that needs to be called out as well. So that's about all I had to say.
Yeah. Yeah, let's be honest. A lot. I'm not trying to come out, and I know it's seeming as if I'm being like just super strict and super difficult when it comes to the older generation. I'm not trying to be like that way. I try to present myself as being a fair person because I believe that's what black men need to be, and I try to act like preach, and it's not easy to do. And black men, we do need to be firm, we need to be uncompromising, but we need to be fair. So that's why I like to listen to people. But a lot of times I know what people are on beforehand, just like with the Ukrainian girl. Well, she's not Ukrainian, but Icy. I don't know if you were here for that part. Or the other dude, the older dude. I don't know if you were here for that part either. I knew what they were on when they got in. Uh, but I let them speak. But I let them speak because I want to show there's a way you can handle certain things. You don't have to be all rah all the time. You can be fair to certain people. There are certain people who get on here and they say some stuff, but they mean well. A lot of the people who get up here, they repeat stuff that we already know. They're kind of a little behind, but they mean well. And I just let them say it. And I said, you know what? Thank you. I appreciate that. There's a way you should be. I want to present myself so I can lead the other people in a way of righteousness and justice. And there's a way that you should treat other people, just regular other people, especially other black people. There's a righteous way you should treat other black people. You should treat other black people like they're your family. And of course, there are family members that you disagree with, and that's okay. And there are family members that you just can't get along with, and that's okay too. And then you do have family members that you're at odds with, that are completely against the progression of everything. And those are the people, despite the fact that I want Norm to come to them, those are the people who come in this room and disrupt progressive spaces like that. My criticism with the older generation, or with some of the older generation, because this space was really supposed to specify the difference between the elders and the olders, but my criticism with the olders is because a lot of the olders, they use their age as if their age gives them credibility. Their age gives them credibility, and to a degree it does. I will give them, to a degree it does, but to a degree it doesn't. It doesn't give them the credibility or the authority or the respect that they would need to come here, and they need to reprimand black people. Just like there was an older man who was a perfect example of the topic of the space earlier this evening. He came, the older dude, and he started using his age and I guess his accomplishments that nobody can verify to reprimand everybody in this space, talk about how little we knew. He was talking condescending to us. I've had spaces where I've had people from the older generations, they come up here and they start mouthing reparations. Oh, y'all shouldn't be doing this, and this is y'all problem, and y'all need to start doing this. We have too much of the older generation doing that. Not all, but we have too often the older generation doing that. They're out here and they're very spiteful and condescending to the younger generation. And what we need is, we need the older generation, the people who are in that same age bracket, we need them to step up, and we need them to be treasures to the older generation. We need them to be like, hey, we shouldn't be treating the younger people like that. We should be trying to help the younger people. We should be trying to support the younger people, not compete with the younger people. That's not what we should be trying to do. You know, we got a YouTube channel going on. The younger people got YouTube channels, podcast platforms, and things, and we're trying to promote awareness and empowerment for our people. We need the older generation to help that, to support that. We don't need the older generation to be out there trying to be the next activist, to be the next it girl. We need the generation to be doing that. Their time is up, respectfully. You know how you have young actors. Let's look at entertainment, for example. You can look at you have young actors like the movie stars who make action movies and stuff like that, and oftentimes, or especially with the Marvel movies, they do it all the time with the damn Marvel movies. You got the male lead, and for every scene of the male lead, the guy has to have his shirt off and he has to show his physique. That's really all comic book movies. There's always one scene in the movie where he's working out or he's fighting and or something like that, and his shirt's off and you see his abs and whatnot. And yeah, that's what they do with that when it comes to that. And then you see Denzel Washington. He makes older movies, or he makes action movies, but you don't see Denzel with his shirt off. You don't see Denzel trying to be young. Denzel is someone who's aged gracefully. He's in that the 50 plus age. I think he's 50 or 60 years old by now. But you don't see him trying to compete with the 20-year-olds. You don't see him trying to act like he's 30 years younger than what he really is. One of the issues that we had in the comic book movies back in the days, you had 30-year-olds who were playing high schoolers. Why don't you actually get people who are like 18, 19 years old, and or even actual high schoolers, than getting somebody who's 30 years old to play a 16-year-old? And I mean, of course, we know it's entertainment. You can't take it that serious. I'm just talking when it comes to aging gracefully. I'm using that as an example. As an example of, okay, I've matured past that stage and I don't want to be your competition. I want to help you get to my level. There should be an age where you're wearing you should be wearing jeans and jogging suits and whatnot, and Jordans. And then there should be an age where you mature out of that and you're wearing suits and polos and dresses. That should be the mature age where you progress into the next stage of life. What we have is the older generation. They're not trying to progress into the next stage of life. They refuse to progress into the next stage of life. So that's an issue that I have. We have a few more speakers. I know I said I wasn't going to be on long, but I want to get to everybody before we go. Spartan, you had your hand up. Then we'll go with the centrist and then Phoenix. And then we'll wrap it up there.
Definitely just wanted to say thank you, man, for this space. This is dope, bro. Definitely want to tap in with you and everyone who came up and spoke. This is all conscious minds. I think that was really that was it. I'm about to jump into some crypto right now. So I just wanted to thank you, bro. Thank you, Rich, Nikki, and everyone who spoke. Bless everyone.
Well, thank you. I appreciate you speaking. Centrist, you can go ahead.
I totally agree with what you said. One of my major problems with older people, particularly in politics and in every aspect, they do not pass the torch. It is time for them to pass the torch. And it is time for them to get out of the way, for your younger generation to step up and to take that torch and to move on. That is why Black people have not progressed to where they need to go, because those old mustache Pete's won't get out of the way. For the Burns to get out of the way, for the Marcells to take over, for the Afro elites, for the riches to take over. I want them to get out of the way. I am a mature woman. I am 46 years old. My time is up. I'm not trying to run for office. I was never going to do that anyway. I was out there making my money so that I could make sure my son, who just got hit by a drunk driver, mind you, can run for Congress. Not for me. Not for me. It's for y'all. It's your time. It's our time to prop y'all up. And these old people have to get out of the way so that we can make sure you can pass the torch to the generation after you. We cannot succeed if we do not build you all up. That's what I need. That's what I wanted to say.
Well, thank you very much. I hope your son is recovering.
It's been a little bit of a rough road because he developed a blood clot, but he got hit by a drunk driver who had 4 convictions behind him. Wealthy lawyer, white, drove his car into my son's car, and it's been a rough road. It's been a rough road this past 2 weeks, but I thank Almighty. I thank the Almighty, and I thank some very good doctors in the fact that he's got some great insurance, and that whew, it's been rough, but he's pulling through. Broken arm, broken knee, broken ankle, 4 broken ribs, concussion, but he made it through. He made it through. He made it through. Thank you all.
Okay, well, that's
I'm
a
sorry to
blessing.
hear about that, and I'm sending love and prayers to your son for
Yeah,
interrupting.
most definitely. Definitely that's a blessing that he made it.
Yeah. Me,
I'm gonna
me,
be
me too, sweetheart. Absolutely. I
Thank
hope
you.
he survives, and I hope he's okay. And
I just thank God he made it so that he can make it through, so that that brilliant brain of his can make it through, so we can put him through on an independent ticket, so that in another year that I can get him in that 1st congressional district, and he can get that old Uncle Tom out that seat,
yeah,
because that's where my
definitely,
money's going.
definitely. I'm gonna be reaching out to you on the after the space and to see what I can do to help. But while we're still here for the little bit of time we are, Phoenix, you can go ahead and unmute yourself.
Hey, thank you, Afro. Thank you for hosting this productive space. You, Nikki, Rich, I always enjoy your rooms. They're very productive, beneficial. I also want to speak healing to your son, Centrist. Uh, so I just speak speedy
Thank
recovery
you.
for your son. So I joined kind of late, but I still got an understanding of this beneficial discussion. So I just took a few notes. I'll be quick. Yes, I agree that our elders go ahead and pass the baton on to us. We could use their support. I've been at those in the workplaces where 60-year-olds were trying to compete with me, or did not want to pour into me. Well, I'm not trying to compete with you. I don't even have what you have. So, but we could really use their support. And the good book says that there's a scripture that has to do with that. We need a mentor. All of us, we need a mentor. We need a mentor to pour into us. We also need a peer where earn sharpens earns, and we need a mentee. We need somebody that we pour into and that we check into. And I try to check myself with that, with my little cousins, and just making sure I call them, text them, or reach out to wherever they are and just let them know, just life experiences, or ask them how they're doing, because I certainly appreciate that when my grandparents called me. So I got a surprise call from my grandfather about a couple of days ago, and he's on his back from a stroke. Even though he was mumbling, he was checking on me, and just a call that makes a big difference. So, but salute to everyone in here. Salute to you guys for hosting this space. I appreciate you. Thank you.
Thank you very much for adding that. Now, our brother Beatzilla, he's on live on YouTube right now. And as a YouTube content creator, I understand it's very difficult for you guys, for us, but for us to grow our platforms. It's very difficult. YouTube is actually the most difficult platform to grow. It's harder to grow than it is to grow your Instagram, your Twitter, your Facebook, TikTok. It's harder to grow on YouTube, and YouTube gives us a lot of difficulties despite the hardships that we've already have to face. So I definitely want to send our brother as much as possible. So after this space closes, which will be closing in the next couple minutes, I will be going over there. If you guys don't know who he is, I have his YouTube, or his YouTube is somewhere in the Jumbotron. I believe our sister Nikki posted it. Yes, she did. So it's in the Jumbotron. So you guys want to go over there, watch his content, and subscribe to his content so we can help grow the Black media. So we can help grow. We're like the, I guess you could call it us the, like the third tier of Black media, so to speak. So we definitely want to help that grow. So I would appreciate you guys going to his channel and subscribing. But let's close the space off with we'll go ahead and let Tim, you can go ahead. You can
Yeah, I'll be quick. Just want to say thank you for the space. I'm about to head over to Beatzilla right now. I encourage everybody to do the same. As an old nigga, but just not one of those old niggas, I just want to say this space was very beneficial. Just try to all of us have been around an older person who actually helped us. That were doing the right things, that made sure we came out okay. So it's kind of up to guys like myself, and if you're over the age of 45, if you see people, try to help. Again, your code is to try to help as many Black people as you can without hurting them. And I'll end it right there. And I'll see y'all over at Beatzilla. I'm out.
Thank you very much, Tim. As always, we appreciate you speaking. Rich or Nikki, you guys can go ahead. Whichever one wants to go first. Rich, you there? Okay, Nikki had to leave. Right then.
My bad. I was in the middle of the traffic. But just to tie up what everything was, what we spoke about. I'm still not over that space from last night. That was a lot of old nigga energy from young niggas, and that's what we got to stop doing. We got to stop with the not wanting to do better thing. You should always strive to do better than you did yesterday. There's always a level up from where you at right now. That silly talk where people pretend that they're happy in their damn Toyota Camry. Just stop. Just stop. Stop pretending like you're happy in that damn 2-bedroom apartment. Just stop. Keep it real with yourself. Oh, I'm happy. I got a 2-bedroom apartment. I don't need anything. Just stop. Just stop. You know you want the condo on the 50th floor. You know you want it. At least keep it real and say, you know what? I'm at the age where I can't afford it. I aged out. It's a wrap for me. Just say that. Don't act like you don't want it, though. And we had a lot of that in the space last night. And that old nigga energy. Leave that. Put that in the trash. Young nigga energy. Young people don't act like that. Young people tell you, nigga, I want this, that. I need the Rolex. I need this. I want that, all that. I need 100,000. I need a mansion. That's how young dudes talk. But that energy from last night, that was old nigga energy from young niggas. Talking about, oh, yeah, I'm cool where I'm at. You should never be cool where you at. If you're a billionaire, you shouldn't even be cool with that. You guys do know you only got one life to live, right? Because some people pretending they got like 10 lives. And if they don't enjoy this life, they'll have another life to enjoy. You only got one life to live. So if you're not going to drive the Ferrari during this lifetime, when are you going to drive it? If you're not going to go get that, or strive to go get that mansion during this lifetime, when are you going to get that mansion? I don't know if it's heaven for real. I don't know. And if there's a hell, you definitely ain't getting no mansion in hell. So Please stop with that silly talk. Strive for greatness. And don't let people shame you. There's a lot of luxury shaming going on. People can't afford shit, so they pretend like, I don't like it. You know, you can't afford it. It's not that you don't like it. You just can't afford the shit. So you want to luxury shame people. Oh, why you buying these expensive bags? You could have bought that. I could have bought that, and I did it. I didn't want it. You wanted the Coach bag. I wanted in the Chanel. Oh well. Oh well. Let's stop pretending like we don't want great things in life. We all want great things. We also strive for greatness. This is why I love 50 Cent's first album title, Get Rich or Die Trying. That's the life. That's the motto I live by. Get rich or die trying. I'm gonna try to get rich to my very last breath. I don't care if I'm 84 years old. I'm still gonna try because we only got one life to live. I don't know where I'm going after that. I don't know where you guys are going after this. They say there's a heaven, but we have no proof. White people got their heaven on earth. I want my heaven on earth too. And that's a quote from Dr. Umar. I'm not going to steal it. But white people have their heaven right now. I want my shit right now too. I want the finer things in life. I want the best of the best food, the best homes, the best doctors, the best lawyers. I want the best of the best. Let's stop pretending like it's a problem to want the best of the best. Luxury shaming. Stop it. If you can't afford it, just say that. If you aged out, just say that.
But you say life ain't no dress rehearsal.
Say that one more time.
Life ain't no dress rehearsal.
Real talk. You only got one of these. You ain't got two or three. So get the Gucci bag, get the Louis bag, get the Chanel, get the Ferrari, get the Bentley, get the Rolls Royce. Get it now. And I'll land right there.
Appreciate you, Rich, as always. Nikki, you can go ahead, sister.
Peace, everybody. Thank you for this wonderful space, as always, Afro Elite. Thank you for your incredible input, as always, Rich. And to everyone who spoke tonight. This subject needed to be discussed, and I strongly feel like you should do this room again and keep doing it until, the point gets across. I feel like we didn't have enough input, so I want to hear more older and elder people come in and speak their truth about how they feel. It's a subject that can continue to go on and on. I feel like sometimes, with me, I'm not like in my 60s, but I am older, and I feel like I'm more at an understanding older into elder status. Just like I said, I'm not like super duper old. I'm in my 40s, and I do see. I'm just be honest. I do see people acting judgy to the people who are younger and they have a lot to give. I try to yield to people, especially men, because I see a lot of younger men with a whole lot of promise and they have a lot that they can teach me. I am not being taught by someone who is younger than me. So, with that being said, I feel like, you know, some of us who are older than the younger people, of course, we're older than younger people. That was funny. Should yield to them and let them lead because the younger generation needs to lead. When I met Afro, I saw something very special in him that drew me to him. And I've been trying to do little things with him and talk to him about the pro-Black community, the Black empowerment community for a while, and ideas that I have and ideas that I see him bringing forth. I want to see someone like him
get the torch passed to him. But it won't be easy if he has people putting up tweets saying, "Oh, that's a bad idea. What you're talking about? Oh, you're an agent." It's not easy if you've got older people, blocking him. People like him and Rich and others within the community. So we have to be cognizant of how we treat them, and we have to support them in every way possible. So, with that being said, I yield my mic. Thank you, everyone who came in here tonight.
Thank you very much. Thank you, everybody, for being here. I'm not going to be on long because, like I told you, I'm going to immediately jump on YouTube and support our brother Beatzilla. His profile is in the Jumbotron. I appreciate everybody on here. I feel like maybe we could have a part 2 to this conversation because I knew it was going to be limited because I wanted to jump on Beatzilla's thing. I knew it was going to be limited because I don't want to cut into his audience. And I would like to hear a little bit from the older generation because we heard a lot from the younger generation, but I would like to hear a little bit more from the older generation. I would, FBA, I see you coming up. I really do. We're going to have another space sometime coming up soon because there's a lot of things I want to discuss. There's a whole lot of things that I want to discuss, and I really haven't had the time to. This month has been unpredictably busy, but progressive. But it's been a lot going on this month. So I haven't had the time to make as many spaces as I've wanted to. Now that my schedule should be getting more on track, I'm going to be able to make spaces and bring conversations to the people that I've been wanting to do. And I appreciate you guys for joining. Evian, you can go ahead and say one thing.
Hey man, I had to get this out real quick. Thank you for the space.
Speak louder. Antonio.
I had to chime in real quick. You know, I'm always shout out to the space and all that, and host and Afro and all that. Real quick, but have y'all ever? And I just direct this to you, bro, or whoever want to answer. You ever ran into an old person who meant well?
Can y'all hear him?
Barely. And you're echoing.
I just download. Hold on.
No, I can't hear.
Well, okay. He's seeming like he has an issue, and I've been making this space. I wanted to close it like 25 minutes ago, so just hopefully next time. I appreciate you for coming in, brother. I really do. Antonio, you can go ahead. Yeah.
All right. It's my question. You got old people in your family, older people in your family. I'm 32. Now, they mean well. They come over and help you change your alternator. They, come show you how to fix that snowblower. But when it comes down to politics, totally off code. So when we talking about respecting the older generation, they need to be brought into the consciousness a lot of the times, because I rarely run into older people that are on code. I just got to be 100. They might be good in the community. They might love the kids. They may be the coach down the street. You got your kids, being coached by him, and he can offer you certain game on certain areas. But these niggas ain't no Jason Black at all. They just voting straight Democrat. They don't even care who run it. So that's what I'm saying. That's when you do your next space, that's something that I want to touch on. You can touch on it now if you want to, but that's all I want to say, man.
Well, I appreciate that. Yeah, I'll touch on that a little bit more in my next space. I'll say this for now. That's definitely something that we have an issue with. Yeah, they're helpful in the community, but politically, they're not on code. They're off code politically. And then they get mad at you. I had a lot of people in my family who are very pro-black. Let them tell it. They're pro-black. They talk about black empowerment, but they're loyal to the Democratic Party to their very being. So we have that. There's even nuance in the elders there's nuance in the coons, you know what I'm saying? So that's definitely something that we can break down a little bit more in the next space we have. I appreciate you for coming in. That's going to be it for the request, because I have to go support our brother on YouTube. I appreciate you guys for coming in. I appreciate you guys for listening. I appreciate you guys for speaking. We will have more progressive conversations like this. There is a difference between the elders and the olders, and we know the difference. We respect the elders. We disregard the olders. We keep the real ones and we disregard the fake ones. And that's how we're going to move. That's how we're supposed to be moving. We use discernment, okay? With that being said, you all have a great rest of your night. I hope to see you on Beachzilla's channel. I really hope to. I know you guys' names, so I hope to see your names pop up in this chat room. We'll be talking to you guys there. You all have a good night.
He's threatening y'all. I'm just kidding. No,
if I don't see y'all in this chat room, I'll be like, yeah, he don't get to speak. She don't get to speak. She don't get to speak. I'm just kidding. I'm just playing.
No, it's in the Jumbotron. Beatzilla's live is in the Jumbotron on the second. It's on the second slide up here, and then go follow Afro Elite. I put that on. That's on the first one. And Jeff keeps laughing at people, so I'm gonna get him when I see him.
Yeah, YouTube is giving me a very hard time. I'm gonna talk about that in another space, but YouTube is giving me hell right now. So I need everybody to try to do what they can to support me. I greatly appreciate it, because YouTube is giving me a very difficult time right now. It's too much to talk about. But I gotta go, family. You guys stay safe out there. Black first.
Black first.